Today, I am honored to introduce you to Alex Allen. We just met in person for the first time a few minutes ago, but I've followed Alex for a while, and she is an absolute force. My favorite thing about Alex is that she's willing to say things that likely won't be received well simply because it's the truth. She's a fierce mental health advocate, and she has a tremendous platform educating both men and women on how they can improve their relationship with food, get stronger, love their body, and live a healthy, meaningful life. Alex Allen, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Very excited to have you. I just start off with a couple of questions at the very beginning. Who are you?
Who am I? That's such a deep question.
It is.
It is. I feel like a lot of times people are just like, oh, I'm my job. And I am a online fitness coach who talks a lot about mental health, body image, relationship with food. But deeper than that, like I'm just a girl trying to figure out life, honestly, still. I think that that's like the crazy part of it is I'm this person who started sharing my health and fitness journey online when I felt really lost. Built a platform because of it, and I'm still figuring out life, and that's honestly the content that I make. I've been a trainer for a decade, and I talk a lot about fitness because it saved me, but I've started to expand that to kind of everything else as well. So that's who I am.
What does that mean, it saved you?
When I was 18, my boyfriend passed away from a drug overdose, and I ended up gaining a lot of weight because I turned to like partying and drinking, and I never really understood how to deal with difficult emotions. And I finally found fitness. I'm the person who failed PE in high school.
How does that happen?
You just don't go. And so I wouldn't go, and I ended up failing.
What would you do instead of going?
Literally nothing. That's the crazy thing. It's like you look back at high school and you're like, oh, okay, like I could just not go to class, and you would just be ditching for the sake of like
just hang out.
Yeah. And I'm like, oh, okay, that doesn't make any sense now. But so I failed PE in high school, went through that phase.
That's
where
amazing.
It's an achievement for sure to then be here. The crazy thing was when I got into health and got into fitness when I was like 18, 19, I gained about 60 pounds and then already lost it at this point. Mm-hmm. And I was at a supplement store, and my old PE teacher who had failed me walked in and was like, no way. And I'm like, hello. He's like, how do you like look like you have muscle and stuff? And I was like, a lot has changed. It's crazy. So that's how I failed PE, and that's how I got into health and fitness.
I love that.
Yeah.
What misconceptions do people have about you?
Ooh, so this is an interesting one. I'm going to go with the one that I always say, which is they think I'm always happy. Mm-hmm. I think that's an important misconception that people have because I tend to be very bubbly and very excited. I always try to be honest about the fact that most of the time, I am really happy and I am really excited. But I think that because online is just little snippets, they don't see, I try to be honest when I am struggling or when things are going on. But I never want people to have that belief that someone's always happy, because I think that it puts them in this place where they think that they're not good enough, or they think that their struggles are a problem. When the reality is it's just part of being a human.
You know, it's interesting, and we'll talk more about it, but I think what you do very well, one of the many things you do very well on your social media is, we were talking about it before we even started recording, where like you make people feel good. And part of that is how you present yourself, and like you present yourself and you do so many things that make people feel better, improve the mood. Like you've got the vibes, as you were saying. What I think is important for content consumers to understand is that for a creator, it's our job. It's our job to be on social media. And in the same way, you probably shouldn't be showing up to your job in a horrible mood every day.
Yeah.
Where it's like you show up to the office, you're in a terrible mood, you're bringing people down. Even if things aren't going super well at home, like sometimes you got to show up to work and put on a face.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm glad that you've made it clear that, listen, just because I can show up to work and be in a good mood and look this way doesn't mean I'm always happy as I look. Right. And I do think you do a good job of being open and honest on your social media and saying, hey, I'm struggling with this, I'm struggling with this, but also being aware for the consumer. It's like, just because I show up and I put on this face in this moment doesn't mean I'm always like this at all.
Yeah, and I try to be conscious of it's interesting how like on Instagram stories, you can literally go from a really happy one to such a serious one.
Yeah.
Even on just on one person's page. And so I try to be conscious of like sharing what's real in the moment. So even one thing I'm working on in therapy is not performing. And because social media is my job, yes, it is easy to feel like you need to put on a happy face, but I actually have tried to move away from that.
Good.
So if I'm not happy, I don't pretend like I am. I literally say like, I'm not feeling good. I'm not in a good headspace, but I am still here. And I think that that's really important. Another misconception that people have about me is they think I'm a lot taller than I am.
Really?
Yeah. People say I give tall girl energy and then they meet me and they're like, oh, you're 5'2". And I'm like, yeah. I'm like, thanks.
I don't think anyone's ever said that to me. Like, oh, you are,
Like, wait a minute.
maybe because it is like, I talk about it all the time. I was like, yeah, I'm super short. So maybe just people start to expect it by the time they meet me. But that's funny. One more question before we get into another topic. What's something that you used to believe was wrong, but now you think it's true? Or it could be in reverse. Like what something you used to believe was true, but now you think it's wrong.
I used to think it was wrong to be patient. Like I think I had to get the results as fast as possible. Wait, I thought that was true. Yes. I just thought it was true that I had to get that. And then I realized that it actually is better to take your time and actually be patient and consistent. But I always wanted to get the results as fast as possible. And I thought that I had to give up everything to do it. I used to identify heavily as an all or nothing person. And so I would just go all in. And that's what led me to yo-yo diet for so long. And so I thought that that was like the only end all be all. But also, interestingly enough, I guess what is more important is I learned that there is no one right way. Like for some people, it can be better to actually go very quickly and to lose weight fast because then they're more motivated or they start to see the results and they're like, okay, now I'm going to stay consistent with this. But for somebody else, that's not going to be the right answer. And then they're going to end up falling off and then yo-yo dieting. The thing that sucks is a lot of times you're going to have to just learn from trial and error or work with somebody who is going to be able to like read you well and be like, I don't think that's the right approach for you. So maybe that's what it is.
I think that is incredibly important.
Yeah.
And understand, because it's the Dunning-Kruger effect, right? Where it's like the less you know,
Yeah.
the more confident you are in your beliefs. And the better and better and better you get it, and the more you know, the more you're like, well, there's so many different factors that can affect it. And you bring up a great point that for some people, losing weight really quickly can actually be a wonderful tool for them.
Yeah.
And for other people, it could literally be the worst thing in the world. For some people, counting calories could literally save them. And for other people, counting calories could absolutely destroy their mental and emotional health. And I think it's so easy when you just learn one method to be like, this is it. This is the one thing that everyone needs. It's like, but the better you get at it and the more you understand it, the more like, hey, there are many different options. Thank God.
Yeah.
Because like we can choose which one is going to work well for you. And also understanding it's going to work differently at different times in your life. What worked for you at 22 years old might have been great at 22, but at 42, it could be absolutely horrible for you. I think it's an important lesson.
Yeah. And I think that being willing to put your ego to the side is a really important thing for people to learn, especially when it comes to health and fitness, just because a lot of times we will kind of what you said about like 22 versus 42. We look back at who we used to be and we think, well, I've done it before. I can do it again.
Yeah.
And you're like, but then I'm not doing it. It's not happening. And that's your ego talking. Like, how about you drop putting this pressure on yourself of who you used to be, release that old identity, and now try to move forward in a new way and like be okay with that.
Every single morning, you know what I'm going to say. Every single morning, including today, every single morning, the first thing you post on your stories is a quote, and it's your quote. You say, you're a little movement away from a great mood. And it's always accompanied by a video of you with dancing with candidly like wildly impressive dance moves. They're very, very good. Why do you do this literally every single day?
So what's interesting is I did this differently back in 2021. It started with it being called Unposed and Unbothered. And so when I started that, I would always be dancing. It would always be to music. And it would be me showing my body forward and to the side. And it was when I was like, technically speaking, heavier than I currently am. And I had more stomach rolls, I had more cellulite, and I wanted people to see that like your body's the least interesting thing about you. And so it's like you should dance, you should be happy, you should be excited. And I just wanted people, first of all, I just like dancing. So there is that aspect of it. But so it started out as unposed and unbothered. And I would say that. And I'd be like, just show up. It's not that big of a deal. Let the rolls roll and do everything. And then as I've, like, my body has changed kind of unintentionally, I don't feel I can portray just the unposed and unbothered. And so that's when I kind of incorporated your little movement away from a great mood. I've said that the whole time too, but I kind of just shifted to that. But it's because put on some good music and move your body, and like it's going to put you in a better mood. And I think,
why did you just shift? Oh, just to that.
I don't feel, I try to be really conscious of my content, of the message that I put out. I would very much still show up in my body, very unposed, very unbothered. Like I don't care if I have rolls when I'm sitting down or anything. Being in a smaller body now, I don't know if the message is still received in the same light. And I try to be conscious of that because I just don't want people to see me and be like, well, of course you're like, I have people do that where they're like, of course you're unbothered. Look at your body. And I'm like, okay, yeah. But then I'll pull up videos for me when I was like 40, 50 pounds heavier. I was doing the exact same thing, baby. Like I was dancing around. I was unposed and unbothered. And I'm like, I didn't lose weight to like feel better about myself. It kind of just happened. And so I just wanted to be conscious of that, I guess.
That makes total sense.
Yeah.
You said it kind of just happened.
Mm-hmm.
Can you talk about like because some people listening are like, lucky you, losing weight kind of just happened. Like, what does that mean? How did it just happen?
I went through a number of difficult life situations that ended up leaving me very stressed and very depressed. And so I turned to walking a lot. And so I was getting like 15,000 steps a day. My hunger was dysregulated. And so I wasn't eating as much. And so I was very aware of what was happening. And I was like, I want to go to the gym. I want to focus on myself. And I really wanted to put on muscle. But I was like very aware that the things I was doing was not helping because I was like, okay, I want to get my legs jacked and I want to build this muscle. And then I'm like looking at my macros and I'm like, I'm not eating enough. And literally within like 2 weeks, I had dropped like 10 pounds. And I was like, what happened? And I do have PCOS and I have lupus. And so both of those got flared up very badly with the like anxiety and the depression and everything else that was going on. So I think that contributed to I didn't get my labs done. I probably should have. My thyroid was probably messed up a little bit. But yeah, I moved more and I ate less, as much as people hate to hear that.
Truth.
That's literally what happened. And so since then, so that was probably like mid-April is when I was like at some of my leanest. And also I was doing more like active things. So like I said, I was walking a lot, but I was also going hiking. Like I was traveling more to go to hiking spots, and it's harder to eat enough when you're getting like 15 to 20,000 steps a day. And so mid-April, I got probably like my leanest. And then once I got home from California, I was like, okay, I really need to like force myself to eat, and I need to stop walking as much. As like a very active human, that's very hard for me. And so I started putting the weight back on, and now I'm roughly like 8 pounds heavier, which I'm really excited about. So that's kind of how it just happened.
So you're saying you had to force yourself. Were you upset that you lost that much weight?
Yeah. I was not happy.
That?
I didn't want to lose weight. I was aware of why it was happening. But since January, I've wanted to put on muscle. And weirdly enough, I stopped running. I stopped being as intense with a lot of my activity. Like I was very intense in the gym, but I was eating more and I was losing weight. And I was like, what's happening? And then once all the other stressors happened, then it kind of compiled. And I did not want to lose weight. And I kept telling everyone online, I'm like, guys, I'm losing weight and I don't want this to be happening. And the unfortunate thing was everyone was asking me, how are you losing weight?
Right.
And I did a whole video on it. It's actually the first pinned video on my page so people can still go see it. Like I'm going to leave it there. And I literally say, all I did was just change a couple of lifestyle factors. And I'm like, but stop making weight loss the goal. It really just came down to the fact that I just dialed in on a lot of stuff and kind of overcorrected.
What did you dial in on?
Daily activity. So like I said, I was walking a lot. I have a dog, and so I have a very active dog. Plus, like I said, I'm from California. I love being outside, even though Houston is so humid. But so I went from getting probably 8 to 10,000 steps a day to probably like 15 to 20, just because I was going on so many walks. I'm going to say this, but it's not, I cleaned up my diet, but it doesn't mean I was like clean eating. I was just mostly eating from home. So obviously like more volume-esque foods for less calories, just because a lot of times that's what you cook, or what I cook, I guess, specifically. And I was training 5 times a week, and pushing myself pretty hard. So all of that kind of compiled to, for whatever reason, to my body losing a lot of fat. And a lot of people said that too. They were like, you don't look, some people said I didn't look unhealthy. Some of my friends said I looked unhealthy. I thought I looked unhealthy.
What does looking unhealthy look like?
To me, this is my own perspective.
You don't need to you say what you believe. Know. It's okay.
Well, because everyone's going to be different, I guess, on how they view it. I felt scrawny. Like I felt like, you know how like bodybuilders, they get ready for prep and everything. Like I've done a bodybuilding show, so I understood where you feel like flat. Like I didn't have enough food in my body, and I felt that. So that's why I felt unhealthy. I mean, my menstrual cycle was still regular. My sleep was still regular. Like I was still tracking everything. And so it was kind of confusing, I guess, because I was like, okay, how come everything else is showing up normal? But I would see my jawline in videos and I was like, I don't want this to be like so predominant. So that's why I didn't feel good.
Got it.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So you've spoken about how you were diagnosed with PCOS in 2020, I believe, is when you said you were diagnosed. Yet despite that, you've still been able to have incredible success with your own health and your own fitness. What would you tell someone who's also been diagnosed with PCOS, but they don't believe it's possible for them? What would you communicate to them?
One, it definitely is possible because it doesn't beat the laws of thermodynamics. Like I know that's one of those things that people don't like to hear.
So explain that. First, what does that mean?
The whole calories in versus calories out aspect of things. Like if you are burning more calories than you consume on a daily basis, you will inherently lose weight. The thing with PCOS is, yes, some things may be dysregulated, and so now your like metabolic rate has slowed, and so now you need to like cut on even more calories. But also the thing is, maybe you shouldn't be doing that anyways. And so maybe your goal, like I had to spend, so that was probably 8 to 9 months that I had to spend not trying to lose weight and focus purely on my health to get my menstrual cycle back, to make sure that like have my hair stop falling out. So I focused on eating enough. I brought down my training volume. I brought down my like daily activity, and I just really focused on making sure that my body was healthy and safe. Notice how I didn't say I stopped training. I think a lot of people think that you need to like switch to be a Pilates girly, or like I see people be like, oh, it has to be low intensity. And I'm like, strength training is more considered like, it can be low intensity. You just don't have to push yourself as hard. But so I took fat loss, put that on the back burner, and then focused on my health first. And then as my body started to feel better and I started to feel better, then I put that as more of a priority. And then it came down to just showing up consistently.
Did you have to take any medication for PCOS or no?
I personally did not. Okay. I know a lot of people take like metformin or like other medications. And I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with it, but I think that you do need to find a good healthcare provider who is going to advocate for you and your health. And I do think that not enough people, when they do this, give consistency enough time before they jump on everything. Because this is, again, my opinion. I'm not a medical doctor, but I do think that a lot of people jump to what's the fastest way to lose weight instead of am I actually being consistent? And when I say consistent, I mean 3 months of, especially in those conditions, 90 to 95% consistency. And that doesn't mean going to the gym 7 days a week. That means, am I sleeping enough? Because, I'm not being ignorant to the fact that like a lot of times PCOS does give you insomnia and like messes up your sleep. So there's some things that are more out of your control. But also like, are you mindlessly scrolling before you go to bed anyways? Are you still stressed the heck out from your job? Are you drinking a lot of caffeine? Are you drinking caffeine too close to bed? Like, are you actually being aware of these things? And a lot of times people hear that and they get really stressed because they're like, there's just so many things to worry about. And I'm like, to me, those temporary disciplines and understanding then allow you more freedom in the future. But if you have no awareness around what you're doing, you can't fix it anyways. So, yeah.
It's also, you bring up an amazing point around consistency, and we could wax poetic about that for hours. But people often complain, oh my God, there's so many things to think about. There are. It's a lot, and it can be super, super difficult. But I think what people don't understand is even if you get on medication, you're still going to have to figure this shit out anyway.
Yeah.
You still have to figure out the sleep, and like going to sleep, like let's say you're struggling with sleep, but all right. So as you were saying, is your phone in your fucking face until 2 a.m? Like put your phone down.
Yeah.
Is your air conditioning on? Like, do you have a blackout curtains on your room? Do you have a sound machine on? Like, let's do everything we can to, even if like you're struggling to fall asleep, let's try and get rest. Are you having fruits and vegetables? Are you hitting your protein?
Yeah.
Are you hitting your fiber? Are you getting your steps in? Because even if you decide to take medication, which I think is wonderful and what a blessing that we have access to that.
Yeah.
But also, even if you're taking it, it's the same thing with GLP-1s.
I was literally about to say that.
It's like people, even if you decide to go down that route, which is, it can be a wonderful route for many, many people, you still can't eat like shit. You can't eat like an asshole. And it becomes even actually more important to hit your protein. It becomes even more important to get all this stuff in check, because in many cases it will be even more difficult to do. And that's when you can have bone loss, muscle loss, da-da-da-da-da-da. So the medication doesn't mean I don't have to focus on these other things.
Yeah.
It just means like you actually should probably focus on it even more.
Yeah. And then especially with like GLP-1s, because I have a lot of clients who are on them, and it's also the consideration of, well, what's going to happen the second you get off of them? If you're not dialing in those habits while you're on it, then the second you come off, you're probably going to revert back to everything else and then put all the weight back on, because all it's doing is suppressing your hunger. And so the second you get off of it, you're like, oh, okay, now I'm hungry again, or I'm going back to eating everything, and you're wondering why. Or you have maybe like a poor relationship with food and you just never addressed it. So the Band-Aid comes off and then suddenly you're kind of left to your own devices.
Yeah. You've spoken about how you gained 60 pounds after
Twice. Yeah.
Oh, it's twice.
Yeah.
So I was referring to when you had mentioned earlier you lost your boyfriend in college to a drug overdose. First, I'm incredibly sorry for your loss. Is this something you feel comfortable talking about so people, number one, can get to know you better, but also, I'm sure, and you probably know this better than anyone, people, especially those who are watching on YouTube or they see you on Instagram, like they look at you and they're like, well, it's easy for you, as you were saying earlier. But when they look at where you've come from and what you've experienced, I think that they'll relate to you more. Can you talk about why you ended up gaining 60 pounds twice and what you were able to do to lose it and feel confident that that won't happen again?
Yeah. So when I gained it the first time, like I said, my boyfriend passed away, which I appreciate. And it is okay. It was one of those things that I had blamed myself for it. Basically what had happened was we had gotten in a fight. I could tell that he had been drinking, and then I didn't want to come over. And next morning, text him, don't get a response. And I was like, oh, I'll see you later. Like, no worries. Like, I'm sorry about last night. And then like later I find out what happened. And like his parents called me, a bunch of my friends called me and stuff, and then found out that he had been doing drugs and been basically like hiding it. Yeah. And his family was like, it's not your fault. And I'm like, but what if I was there? And I was 18 years old.
Of course.
Like, so I'm like, I should have been there. If we didn't get in that fight, I would have been able to like roll him over, or something could have happened. Like I could have helped. And so for a really long time, I blamed myself. And that's what led me to go to food. And so I went to food, I went to drinking, I went to partying, and that I basically just gained weight really fast. And then once I got to a point where basically my lymph nodes had gotten so swollen that I had to go to the hospital and to get
Jeez.
put on steroids. And that's when I found out that I had lupus. And so basically the doctors were like, you're essentially killing yourself. And I'm like, oh, okay. How do I fix this? So I turned to Groupon and got like a Groupon boot camp class, and I started running. And so I just did what an 18-year-old with like very little money could do. And I had zero education on anything, but I lost weight because I started eating clean and I started moving a lot. And so, and I never addressed any underlying mental health or any relationship with food or anything at all. I literally was just like, okay, I just need to fix this and I need to feel better. And I did. Like, I actually ended up running 6 half marathons in 1 year. As I said, I used to identify as an all or nothing person.
That's
so when I
intense.
do something, I'm going to do it. To be fair, Disney half marathons, highly recommend them. They're so fun.
At Disney World?
Disneyland.
Disneyland. Got it.
I've
Got it.
never
Got
been
it.
to
Okay.
Disney World, unfortunately, so I got to go.
Okay.
But but so I started running half marathons and then basically burned myself out. And so that was part of it, is I realized I would just jump from one thing to the next. And after that, I ended up actually getting into firefighting. And so I met a bunch of firefighters at the gym that I was going to. And I was like, this is really cool. And I could help people. Like that's really exciting. And I was also a trainer at the time already. Like I had gotten really into it. I met somebody who basically like taught me how to do programming, and I went through NASM, and I started going to school for kinesiology. And then at the same time as when I met the firefighters, you hang out with firefighters enough, they eat a lot. And so I got into powerlifting. And then that's when I basically just reverted all my weight back, because I went from running so much and barely eating anything to now I got to put on muscle. I got to get stronger. So I put all the weight back on, and I never even like noticed it. It didn't bother me. I wasn't really thinking about it. I was like, I'm strong and it's like, I'm doing great. And then I had an unfortunate incident in the fire service and basically realized that it was not where I was suited to be. Basically what happened was one of the battalion chiefs was pursuing inappropriate relations with me. And even through the academy and everything, I had different captains and chiefs tell me like, you're too friendly to be in this field. And I was like, that's crazy. And I'm like, I had a boyfriend, and I was like, I'm not interested in any of the guys or anything. And they're like, yeah, but you can't be somebody who wives or girlfriends would be intimidated for you to be around.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
And I was like, okay. And so I would try to just like not talk and try to just basically not be myself. And I loved firefighting. I loved it so much. And actually one of the chiefs at a different department, when I saw him as I was like preparing to leave the other department that I was at, he was like, we would never treat you that way. Come here. And I was like, honestly, I have such a bad taste in my mouth. Like I can't do it. And it was for the best, because I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for that. But so after I got out of that, I was like, okay, now I need a new purpose in life. And my boyfriend at the time was really into bodybuilding, and he was like, well, why don't you do like a bikini competition? And I was like, sure. So I went the whole opposite route, did a bikini competition, still learned nothing about like emotional regulation, about like even macros or anything like that. They just gave me a meal plan. I followed it. I did everything to a T. Got out of that and realized that now my relationship with food was even worse, because I was scared to eat a lot, because I was scared to gain weight, because I got so many praises for being 105 pounds. And I was
wow.
like, ugh. So that's when I found, after probably 3 months of being afraid of eating food, I found like Lane Norton, Paul Revelia, like a lot of the OGs. I think I found you like probably around that time too. And I started realizing, oh, this is not healthy and there's a better way to do it. And so I had already had all the knowledge around strength training, but now I expanded my knowledge around food and around relationship with food. I didn't start going to therapy yet, but I started to find different resources for mental health and how to kind of like work through a lot of those things. So as I started to progress with that, that's when I started to feel a lot better. And then I was able to actually start maintaining my weight. So that was from 2013 through 2017 roughly.
Okay.
And it wasn't until like 2017, 2018 that I got to a point where I could actually like maintain. And then once I came off of hormonal birth control in 2021 is when I gained all the weight back. Not all the weight, a decent amount of weight back. And then now I'm here.
Can you?
That was a lot.
No, that was great. That was amazing. Can you tell people what it's like to prep for a bodybuilding show? Because again, people see these pictures, they see these images, and many people will look at this stuff and be like, that's pinnacle of fitness. And they have, number one, no idea how people feel when they're on stage smiling like that. But also they don't know what you have to do to get to the point. Can you just walk people through what that's like, what you had to do to get there?
Yeah. So to be fair to people in bodybuilding, most people in bodybuilding now, is I was in it in 2016. So this was like peak some of the worst coaches out there.
Oh yeah.
And so I was given a meal plan to follow, which you should not just be given a meal plan. You should be educated on, again, like macros, why the meal plan can help you understand how to set up your food and everything. But I was given a meal plan that consisted of, it started with, I went from not tracking and not doing anything. So I was probably, if I had to guess, eating close to like 22 to 2,400 calories a day before. They put me on a meal plan that was 1,500 calories right out the gate.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay. And then I started doing cardio right away. So they basically added a lot of activity.
How much cardio?
I was doing 30 minutes 4 times a week.
Okay, it's not bad.
Right out the gate?
Yeah, well, it's a
with
significant...
that big of a deficit?
Yeah.
To me, it's... So I guess this is my own perspective, but I like to change as little variables as possible to start.
Yep.
Because you don't know what's working, for one. But then two, it's not going to give you as much room down the line.
Correct.
Because I ended up at eating close to like 1,200 calories.
That's what I thought you were going to begin with. So that's where I was
okay,
like...
that's fair.
That's where the context was like, oh, you're probably going to say 1,200, 1,100, 1,000. You're like 1,500, and I thought you were going to say you're doing 2 hours of cardio immediately. So
Okay,
that's where
fair.
I was like, it's not that bad. But it is a huge jump out of the gate.
That's
sure.
where I ended up being. So it was 1,200 calories in the end, and then it was 60 minutes of cardio every single day.
Yeah, it's a lot.
And it was like stairs, and it was funny because we get to I'm not enhanced. I've never done anything, and I think
You
my
mean
coaches,
like steroids and
yeah,
stuff. Yeah.
And so I think my coaches at the time were people who had only really worked with people who were enhanced, and we get to like show week, and they start to do kind of like the water cycling, and I like trying to like deplete my water, and they're like, are you actually following everything to a T? And the thing was, when you're natural and you don't have any carbs and you are now taking away water, you're actually going to typically look more watery, just because your body is trying to utilize the water that it has in it. And so typically like that's not what you should actually do. And so I essentially started training, got to a point where I was training 7 days a week, doing cardio 7 days a week. I was also working in retail at the time, so I was getting like 16 to 18,000 steps a day.
Dear Lord.
Yeah, so I was
on top of an hour of stairs.
Yeah.
Stairs is like the most brutal too.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
And I was still in school, and so I'm like going through my textbooks while I'm on the stairs, and like that's how I would like be doing everything, is I'm like, okay, I'm fitting everything in. I'm working 2 jobs because I was working in retail and I was a trainer and I was going to school. And you look back and you're like, how did I do all of this? Meanwhile, now I get tired just like working for like 8 hours a day. But yeah, that's essentially where I ended up. And so that's where a lot of people end up when it comes to bodybuilding, is sometimes you can have a coach who does kind of drop things a lot very quickly just to kind of like rush prep. If you are someone who wants to do bodybuilding, find a coach who is not going to rush your prep and who's also going to be honest with you, because I went in with the same expectation of, okay, however I look on stage is how I'm going to look for the rest of my life. And I was like, oh, most of these people don't actually look like that. Plus, this isn't even healthy. And a lot of people, especially at that time, like 2016 to 2017, 2018, would just use those pictures year round.
Yes.
And you had no idea. And so going in with an understanding of why you're doing it, I think is really important, because I did it purely because I needed a goal to work towards, for one, but then 2, because I just wanted to change my body. One thing that I say a lot is you'll never hate yourself into a body that you love. I say that from experience. I tried to hate myself into a body that I loved, and it ended up leading to me yo-yo dieting for so long, and doing a lot of things that weren't sustainable, and following crash diets, and just being miserable.
On that topic, you said, and I have a direct quote, you said, for so long, my version of healthy was the lowest calorie salad dressing, miracle noodles. We're going to talk about those. Protein bars, 100-calorie packs, and anything that said skinny on the label. I wasn't focusing on how food made me feel. I was only focused on making myself smaller. Now, my meals are built around mostly whole, nutrient-dense foods, but they also include pancakes, sweet potato fries, chocolate, and meals I actually enjoy. Can you talk about this evolution from extreme restriction, lowest calorie, skinny foods to more being able to enjoy the majority of your diet being whole, minimally processed, nutrient dense, but also pancakes, sweet potato fries? I was like, can you talk about that evolution?
Yeah, first of all, I'm a slut for sweet potato fries and chocolate.
You looked right at the camera as you said that. That was actually really funny. You direct, I'm a slut. That was really funny. Okay.
I used to be an actor, so I have comedic timing.
Oh my gosh. We're going to have to clip that. That was so funny.
And so, I convinced myself that those foods were actually good. Like that was my problem. Is I was sitting there. I remember, God, in bodybuilding, this is how you know it was so bad. There was a point in the bodybuilding prep where there was this like hot sauce that I would just pour all over my food because it had like a little bit of flavor to it. And I had my chicken and my I think rice was gone at that point. And so I had my chicken and asparagus. I vividly remember, this is crazy. I remember sitting in the break room at work and just dumping as much of that sauce and mustard as I could because it was 0 calories.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, this is so good. And it tasted so good because you're so malnourished at that point that you're like, oh my gosh, this is the pinnacle of health. When the reality was it was just keeping you alive. So I probably added a lot of calories to my diet from that. As much as weird as that sounds. I know. I'm literally that's how I was surviving.
It's always funny when people post on social media, when someone says this tastes exactly like.
No.
It never tastes
it's a lie.
This is like brownies, or this tastes exactly like Cinnamon Toast Crunch. Or, no, it doesn't.
Yeah.
The only thing that tastes like Cinnamon Toast Crunch is Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
Yeah.
The only thing that tastes like brownies is real brownies. Don't give me your listen, my wife makes incredible protein pancakes. They're amazing. I love them. But it's not like going to the diner and having the fucking full fat butter on the pan. It's just not.
Yeah.
And you can't convince me otherwise.
Yeah. It's I'll trust you less if you say that, to be honest.
Yes.
But so I mean, to go from a lot of it came from being a lack of education. And so again, I didn't understand macronutrients. So this is where I think that tracking macros gets a bad reputation because it can help you understand portion control. One thing that you talk about a lot that I love, or at least you used to, which was the hand method and the plate method. And I think both of those are great because I think that understanding how to build a balanced plate is something that if you just learn that, you can change your entire body composition. And obviously kind of graduating to understanding how, even if it's not the correct portions on the plate, but it's maybe a burger, this now fits that. And so I got there because of lack of education and, again, a drive to purely focus on aesthetics versus my health. And the way that it changed was expanding my knowledge. So again, understanding macronutrient breakdowns, understanding calories in versus calories out, as much as people hate to hear that. It helps you understand that, oh, okay, if I'm not losing weight, it's because I'm not in a calorie deficit. If I want to maintain my weight, I need to eat roughly this amount. And also it can help you learn how to eat more intuitively. Because I think that intuitive eating gets such a bad reputation because I'm if I was to actually intuitively eat, I would eat an entire bar of chocolate
easy
every single day.
Yeah.
But when you have more structured meals that provide you with the nutrients that you need, you can actually eat more intuitively because you're oh, I had 2 cookies and now I actually feel satisfied instead of feeling like I'm deprived or starving. So
why do you think people get so upset hearing that calories are so important? What do you think is, because it's a fact. It's as simple as being if you want the car to go faster, then you press the pedal down more. It would be as if someone was getting upset about that. Why do you think people get so emotional and angry hearing that, well, it does come down to calories. Where do you think that comes from?
I think there's a couple of things. I think one, as a society, we've put such a moral value on food. And so they think that they're doing something almost like wrong, like, or bad. And I think that that then ties to like the other aspect that I think of, which is a lot of times people don't want to take accountability for the role that they're playing in the lack of results that they're getting. I don't want to say always, because sometimes like you can never say always anyways. Be alarmed if someone's like always. But a lot of times like we want to blame something else and then we're just like, oh, okay, like it's not my fault. Well, no, that can't be true. It's not my fault. When again, kind of going back to like, have you been consistent for 3 months and like actually, and again, you don't have to track macros. You can do the plate method. You can like focus on mostly whole nutrient dense foods. It's really freaking hard to overeat whole nutrient dense foods if you have like mostly protein on the plate and then a bunch of vegetables and then like some carbs and fats. And so I think that that's kind of why a lot of people don't want to put their egos to the side. Because it sucks when you realize that it's your fault or it's your responsibility. And like that's not meant to be a bad thing. I think as human beings, we've gotten too emotionally connected to, again, like food and our bodies when there is an emotional tie to it. Like again, like a lot of times for birthdays and for different holidays and things, like we celebrate with food, which is such a beautiful thing. And it's so exciting. And you should be able to eat it without being scared or feeling guilty or overindulging. Like to the point where you're so uncomfortable. Because that's the thing is you take the holiday and you're like, okay, I'm going to eat to the point where I'm like in pain. That's not healthy either. So I think those are some of the bigger components for why people get so upset.
You know, it's interesting. I feel as though when you learn about calories, if you, as you said, take the ego out of it, and once you objectively analyze it, it actually becomes much more freeing. Because now it gives you the ability to eat guilt-free.
Yeah.
Whereas I think people, when they start to get upset about it, they almost say, they feel as though you're telling them you're lying. And they literally might not be lying. That's more likely they're just unaware. Right?
Yeah.
And like they're like, I'm not lying. It's like, I'm not saying you're lying. Maybe there's something you're not aware of.
Yeah.
And once you become aware of it, then you can actually enjoy the cake guilt-free. You can enjoy the pizza guilt-free. It's a huge obstacle to overcome, because once you overcome it, it's so empowering.
Yeah.
And it removes the moral value from the food. And it's like, hey, you can enjoy this guilt-free, no issues, and then also focus on the majority of the time foods that are more nutritious, more nutrient dense, but also feel free to enjoy these less nutritious, less nutrient dense foods and enjoy them without feeling guilty about it.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that, again, like if people, it's kind of like the scale.
Yeah.
Where it's like they get really emotionally tied to it and they like put all their worth on it. And I'm like, if you remove emotion, which is hard, we are human beings, we are emotional.
Yep.
And so it's really hard to remove the emotion out of it. And so I'm never ignorant to that. But if you can remove the emotion and like, or address the emotion, hold space for it, and then move forward with logic, then you're going to be able to kind of be more objective about it.
That's a great way to put it, because per usual, number one, the fitness industry runs on a pendulum of extremes, but I think people, we pick sides. And we become very cult-like. And we see this in politics, we see this in fitness, we see this in everything. And in terms of behavior, people say either logic or emotion, but they can exist simultaneously, and they should exist simultaneously. Yes. It's like we can have we can enjoy something purely because emotionally we would like it, while also logically understanding, okay, what do we do moving forward? And logically understanding this isn't make me fat, this isn't inherently bad, and also I'm going to enjoy this purely out of emotion. I feel like they can exist simultaneously without needing to say like it should either be 100% logical or emotional. And going to the phrase, which is very common nowadays, especially in politics, is like facts don't care about your feelings.
Oh, yeah.
Which, I feel like it's an interesting discussion, because the facts shouldn't be influenced by your feelings. The facts are facts, but your feelings are going to influence how you move through life.
Yeah.
And so we can be aware of the facts while also being aware of our feelings.
Yeah. That's been a popular fitness quote too, of like, feelings aren't facts, stick to the plan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I do like that quote, but I also am very heavy on like, the gym isn't therapy. And so, and like, that's what I tie it into, because people will be like, feelings aren't facts, you stick to the plan. And then they like go to the gym or lean into fitness as like a therapeutic tool. And I'm like, yes, it can be therapeutic, but it doesn't change the fact that like, your feelings matter and you need to hold space for them. The more you don't, the more you're going to suppress it. And the more it's just going to kind of become an outburst later. And so I think that more people need to be okay with living in the gray area. People need to question things more. I mean, that's just my opinion, because like, I'm the very like tinfoil hat friend, because I've always just questioned everything. And I definitely learned that from my dad. And people will say like, you have to go to college right out of like high school. You have to get a degree. You have to be married by this time. You have to have a house by this time. Like, you have to, there's timelines. And it's like, why? Why do we have to do anything? And it's the same, it's literally the same thing around like your body. Is you have to look a certain way. You have to be a certain thing to fit in society, to be approved, to be enough. I actually just put this on my story, I think the other day, because my friend had put up like a post where his therapist had asked him, when are you finally going to feel worthy?
I saw this. Yeah.
Yeah. And I came in from what my therapist had kind of taught me and like what I've been learning, which is, you are born worthy. Like, you're not going to take a baby and be like, you're not worthy. Like, you don't deserve my love. You don't deserve these things. You're going to give it the love, and you're going to do your best to like nurture it and do all these things. But somewhere along the way, you were taught by society or your parents or trauma or whatever it might be, that you are not, for whatever reasons, that you need to be perfect, that you need to stay quiet. You don't want to be too much. You need to work harder, whatever it might be. And those are just stories that you have convinced yourself. And the reality is, you don't need to keep performing. You don't need to change your body to finally be worthy. Like, a lot of times we'll look at the before and after pictures and think like, oh, this person before wasn't worth the time and the effort or anything, but now this person after is. When the reality is, you are worth the time, the effort, the energy, the love, everything as you are right now. And recognizing that if you pour all of that into yourself, you will become the best version of you anyways. And guess what? However you look at the end of that, that's just a byproduct of it. It's not the end all be all. It doesn't mean that now you can be worthy of whatever you want.
You bring up a great point. I also think it's the easiest way to point this out is when people say, oh, I'll be happy when I lose X amount of weight, or I'll be happy when I'm here. But then when they see pictures of themselves from 20 years ago, when they were that way, or they did look that way, and they're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I looked that good. I can't believe back then I hated myself.
Yeah.
It's like, it's because no matter what you weigh now, you're probably not going to see yourself the way you are, which is why we need to remove the self-worth from solely how you look and focus on other things, how you feel, your performance, what you're offering. Everything you have to offer, it has nothing to do with how you look whatsoever.
And also, even like when we say offer, it doesn't mean like your finances. It doesn't mean like what you're contributing to the world necessarily. Like, just look at who you are as a human being and get really clear on your values. And then now you can kind of decide how you show up and make decisions based on that. Because I think a lot of times like people will think that their job is a big indication of their value or their worth as a human. And I think that that's where health and fitness isn't just about how your body looks. It's also about how you show up in like all of life. And I think sometimes like we forget that.
I think a simple test to see like, well, what are my values? What do I care about? What do I want to be remembered for is, what do you want people to talk about at your funeral? Do you want them to talk about how lean you were? Yeah. Do you want them to talk about how much money you had?
Yeah.
Do you want them to talk about how good you looked in certain pictures? Or do you want them to talk about how when they needed you, you were there? What do you want them to talk about? How like you'd be the person to give them the shirt off your back? Do you want do you want them to talk about that you no matter what happened, you stood up for what you believed in? Like, that's a very simple test to say, like, what do I stand for? And where are my values and what's worth focusing on?
Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of people lack, like why a lot of people lack confidence, because they won't show up for themselves in a way that actually makes them proud. And then like that's why you don't feel good about yourself, because you're still engaging in habits that you say don't align with your values, but then why are you doing them? And again, like we're not perfect. That doesn't mean that every
Nobody.
single decision, it
Nobody's
doesn't mean you're
perfect.
always going to be doing things that align with your values. But it's the, I have another pinned video about this too, where it's kind of like the idea of imagine you and I made plans to go get coffee together, and you go to the coffee shop and you text me and you're like, hey, where are you? And I'm like, oh, I actually didn't feel like coming today. Like, let's actually meet tomorrow. And you're like, okay, sounds good. And so you text me the next day, you're already there, and you're like, hey, where are you? And I'm like, okay, actually, like, let's meet tomorrow instead. I don't feel like it. And then you're like, okay. And then that cycle keeps repeating. And then eventually, I hope you're going to be like, you're not a good friend. Like, what are you doing? You're not showing up for me. This isn't okay. I don't like this. I don't like this treatment. But we will literally do that to ourselves. We won't show up for the gym when we say we will. We won't take time to go to bed earlier. We won't meal prep. We won't do hobbies outside of work. Like we won't do things that actually fulfill us and make us happy. And then we get mad at ourselves for it. And instead of doing something about it, we just wallow.
One thing I like about you is you do a very good job of recognizing both societal impact on the individual and the individual's responsibility to do what they need to do. And again, going back to picking sides, some people will only focus on society's keeping you down. This is society's fault. It's not your fault. And then other people will say, it's just you. It's your responsibility. Nothing else matters. Society doesn't matter. And I think you do a really wonderful job of seeing they bleed into one another, and we can recognize societal impacts on the individual while also simultaneously recognizing no matter what, it's still your responsibility to create this change.
Yeah, I think that a lot of times we ignore the socioeconomic impacts on people, but the reality is everyone's different. Every single human being is so different. And we've had different upbringings, we've had different life experiences. And to say that this person should just know how to do everything isn't fair. But then also to not take our own accountability into how we show up or how we can improve or grow is also unfair. And so I think it's from a lot of like my own failures that I've done that, where like I've experienced those things, but then also getting to meet people from so many different upbringings and almost becoming, would it be too empathetic? I try and just be understanding of everyone's perspective.
I was talking about this with my buddy Mike. I think it was actually yesterday. Empathy is very interesting because some people lack it entirely. And it's so dangerous when you have an individual who is completely and utterly devoid of empathy. On the other hand, I think it is equally dangerous to have, I think what I'm trying to say is empathy, there's a fine line between empathy and enabling. And I think too much empathy becomes enabling, in which it's like, I care so much about you and I love you so much and I don't ever want you to feel anything bad and I want to support you in literally anything you do, that now anything you do becomes okay. And I won't question any of it because I love you that much. And it's like, okay, well now you're just becoming an enabler. And this is where we see people, simple example would be drug addiction, alcohol addiction, whatever, where it's like after a certain point, it's like we might have to have an intervention where it's like now it might look like we don't have empathy, but it's like, no, we're done enabling this to happen. We need to make you to actually be aware of the impact you're having on yourself and everyone around you. And so once again, we come to the conclusion that we need a balance of often people need more empathy, but too much isn't good either. Yeah.
I always tell people I'm the friend that they need, not the one that they want. Because actually my friend said this to me the other day too, because he was like, I respect you so much because you'll just say what's ever on your mind. And I was like, well, yeah, That's life. What do you mean? And he's just like, well, like, and there's certain things that I don't really realize that I do sometimes until someone points it out. And I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I do that. But I've always been very blunt and very honest, which some people don't want to hear. And so that's where I've tried to learn more empathy. I think before it was almost too much of being that honest, like especially at a younger age when I was more ignorant. And as I've gotten older, I've understood that I still need to tell the truth and I still need to be honest with people because you're just enabling them. And that's not helping anybody. Like, I don't want friends who are, and my friend literally was like, I just don't want you mad at me. I'm never going to be mad at somebody for being honest with me. Yes, your delivery is important and it shouldn't be just be like a dick, but I would rather have somebody say something that's really tough for me to hear. Mm-hmm. And again, put my ego to the fucking side and be like, you're right. Oh, and sit. And that's the problem. People don't want to sit with their discomfort. A lot of times when we hear that stuff that's really uncomfortable, like we can take it back to fitness in this sense. But if someone's like, well, I'm just not losing weight. Okay. Like, and if they're tracking macros, like I've had clients where they're tracking their macros and they're tracking their steps and we're tracking their like workouts, like we're tracking everything. They're like, I'm just not losing weight. And I'm like, well, yeah, you haven't been in a calorie deficit. Like, let's look at your macros. You like, we know you are net higher. And they're like, oh, okay. And I'm like, yeah, guess what? You're not a bad person. It doesn't mean that you've done anything wrong. It's why it's not working. So we have to make a choice. Do we want to keep going in the direction we are? Which there's no problem. If you don't want to be in a calorie deficit right now, you don't have to be. But if you want to lose fat or you want to like change your body more quickly, then we need to adhere to the protocol. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the other thing too, especially like as coaches, is a lot of times people just want someone to tell them what to do.
Yep.
Exactly. And follow the plan. And that does not build autonomy and it doesn't build education in my perspective, because you're not, even if you explain the why, giving people the option, now they're making a choice and they can choose to either follow it or not. And if they don't, again, we need to teach them that like, hey, it doesn't have to mean that you're a bad person. It just means that you're not doing it and that's okay. But then they're more likely to adhere if they're given that choice.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting in terms of I'm getting a lot of questions about AI and fitness.
Oh, gosh.
I'm assuming you are as well.
I get a decent amount. A lot of people still don't like, I still don't like it. I don't think.
Oh, you don't like it?
Oh, interesting.
Well, so I'm interested in behavior.
Yes.
That's one of my biggest passions, not even just in fitness, in life, like watching people's behavior. Why do you act the way you do? Why do I act the way I do? Mm-hmm. Even going to what you were saying, it's like, we know we should or should not be doing something, but we still do it. Like, why? Mm-hmm. What is that? For me, with AI, people are asking, well, if it's just going to write me an amazing program, then why would I hire a coach? And number one, we could get into, I don't think the programs are that good. Some of them are great. Some of them are really good. I've screwed around with it. But if we're looking at behavior, it's accountability. Mm-hmm. Accountability is without question. If you struggle with something, mm-hmm. you need accountability. If you don't struggle with it, fine, maybe you don't need accountability. But mm-hmm. if you're struggling with your fitness, having someone there to hold you accountable mm-hmm. is going to be arguably the most important thing to keep your behavior in check, which is why, as a coach, I'm not worried about AI, because you could get the most amazing program from AI, but if they're not holding you accountable, you're not going to follow it. So I just think that's, when you were talking about accountability, that's what led me down that route. I just thought it was an interesting sidebar. Anyway, you were speaking earlier about how you lost a significant amount of body fat. Mm-hmm. And you said, and this is actually, I think, one of the first times you and I DM'd, you had said, many people have been asking, aren't you the one who says strong is greater than skinny? Mm-hmm. So why are you shrinking yourself? Mm-hmm. And I'll just start. How did you reply to them when people essentially come at you? Yeah. Pretty aggressively in terms of saying, like, aren't you the one that says strong is greater than skinny? How do you reply to those people?
Yeah, I remember you were like, you came in hot and you were like, you don't have to explain yourself to anybody. Like, you're fine. And I'm like, I feel weird because this is the smallest I've been since having my platform. And again, I didn't mean to do it, which is it triggers so many people to hear that because I understand that they're like, must be a nice problem. I've never had that problem before in my life. But I responded by trying to just defend myself where I was like, I am focusing on getting stronger. I'm literally doing more pull-ups. I'm literally doing more weight when it comes to like hip thrusts and squats. Like my strength has progressed. I am literally getting stronger. Me getting smaller happens to be a byproduct again of everything else. And I said that and I was like, I'm still that person. My body's just changing. And like that's it.
Can I say I fucking hate when people say strong is better than skinny.
Oh, interesting.
I hate it.
Oh, okay.
Because every single person who says that comes from the place of body shaming is bad. Right? Like you would agree body shaming is bad. Right?
Yeah.
For me, why are we putting some people struggle with gaining weight. Why would we say that something is better than being skinny? Isn't that body shaming?
That's fair. I've literally never had somebody say that ever.
It's just, I don't understand. And I'm not coming at you.
I agree with you. No, I agree with you. But that's why I found it interesting. I was like, I've literally never had someone just say that. But I agree. Because I think it's interesting because I've never thought about it that way when it comes to saying strong over skinny. But I've always believed that for some people, weight gain is a really good thing. And weight loss can be a really good thing. It just depends on the reasons and what's happening. Like me being very open about now gaining weight, it's now opened to like a whole new conversation with a lot of people who follow me who are like, thank you so much for sharing this. I'm actually in recovery right now, and this is helping me like be less scared of it. And so I'm finding a way to utilize this change in a positive way. I don't like I'm going to tread carefully here, but
Don't be careful.
I like being careful.
Don't be careful.
I like being careful. I try to be thoughtful because to me, when I think strong versus skinny, like strong over skinny, I'm thinking of me when I was at my smallest and I was unhealthy because I'm coming from my lens of my own life, and which is interesting because we just talked about like empathy and stuff. And so I guess because, I didn't actually like consider it that way. But so when I say that, I'm thinking of like me being like unhealthy skinny, versus just quote skinny, I guess.
Yeah.
Like what's leaner now.
Yeah. The way I think about it is it's almost a false dichotomy as well. It's like someone could be skinny and also be super fucking strong, whether it's dancers or whomever, or just an individual. I've always just it's been curious to me because that crowd, I think they come from an empathetic place and often they're like, we don't want to body shame. You shouldn't be focusing on how people look. And it's like, then why are you talking about skinny people?
That's fair.
Right? So that's where I come from with that. I think if we're going to be talking about getting people to stop focusing on their body, then we should be talking about, and we could even talk about that. Should we stop focusing on our body? But I've never enjoyed how hard some people go on that route. And I've also received some messages from people who really struggle to gain weight, who they feel called out when it's like, listen, I'm trying to be strong. I'm trying to do this. And all I'm getting is people telling me like strong is better than skinny, strong is better than skinny. And they feel bad about it now. And it's I don't know. I found it curious how that works. And I don't think people who are saying that have that intent, but it is something I've been aware of.
Well, that's the irony of my situation, right? Is I got a lot of people who are like, oh, like, how did you lose so much weight? And like, or why are you preaching this thing when you're now this body? And I'm like, guys, I'm like, it happened. And I'm like, I am very honest about, I did dial in on a lot of stuff and there were other factors, but then also I happened to lose weight as the byproduct. And so it puts me in this weird position where people are like constantly commenting on how skinny I am in either positive or negative light, which, to be fair, you're going to get that no matter what.
No matter
you're
what.
You're not jacked enough. You're not like lean enough. You're not bulky enough. Like you're too bulky, like whatever it is. So there's no winning. I don't think that the conversation should ever go completely away from body. I know that you were like, we could talk about that. I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with talking about bodies. I think it's good to be aware of like what is actually healthy and understand that it's a range, just like everything else. It is a range. And what's healthy for one person may not be healthy for another. And that's okay. It just shouldn't be the only thing that you think about.
Aesthetics aren't a bad goal. You're more than welcome to want to change your body. But again, I think going back to the test of what do you want people to talk about at your funeral?
Yeah.
It's like if that's your main thing and you're also not achieving your goals and you're not happy, maybe it's worth adjusting. That's been one of the cool things. I'd imagine you're similar. When you start focusing on what your body can do, you get much happier.
Oh, yeah.
It's like when you post videos of yourself, like you do chin-ups and then you land in this superhero pose.
Yeah, I was literally thinking that.
It's everyone go follow Alex because she posts really great stuff on Instagram, but it's the perfect visual of being proud of what your body can do. You're doing chin-ups, boom, you land in this like Spider-Man, Superman pose. I don't know, I love it. And then you do the thing in the mirror where you're on the side and you look like Spider-Man. It's cool because it gives you an opportunity to be like, I'm so proud of what my body can do.
It's so funny because I just did that one day and everyone was like, how did you do that pose? And I was like, it's really easy. And I like did a video and I like just got up and they were like, you don't understand that that's not like an easy thing.
No, it's not. It's not easy thing.
So
you're holding yourself up on one arm with your feet on the wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've left a lot of footprints in hotel rooms and places in my own bathroom doing that. But yeah, I think that it's funny because I actually stopped having physical goals for a while. And then I would just kind of do stuff randomly. And I'm just like, I can hop over a fence really easily. My dog constantly loses her ball or like stuff like that. And I say I throw the ball over a fence. And so I have to go get it. So like in my brain, I'm like, I'm taking the path of like, that's easier. And so I'll literally hop over the fence instead of walking around it because I just know I can.
Yeah.
And then I forget that that's a thing that I can do that people, like a lot of people can't or wouldn't do.
I'm trying so hard not to laugh right now because for some reason, as soon as you said I can hop over a fence really easily, I was thinking that would be so funny to put in like a dating profile. Like I just feel like
hops over fences,
like,
superhero landing.
Like I don't know how dating profiles work, like, but on like online dating, if you just put in your bio like I can hop over a fence really easily, I just feel like that would be hilarious.
Prove it.
It also feels like something that like a Dwight Schrute would say, or it's just something super random. It's like I can hop over a fence really easily. To me, that's hilarious. But it's also like it's very difficult to do.
Yeah. I think I learned it from firefighting, climbing up ladders. I don't know.
Did you ever watch The Office?
I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh,
I've seen like
Mitch.
4 episodes.
No, oh my god. Okay.
I can quote it. That's what she said. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, that's a great quote. There's this episode where Michael is trying to he's trying to get set up on dates and he's asking his employees to like, hey, set me up. And this one woman, Phyllis, is like, oh my gosh, I have this amazing woman for you. And Michael looks at her and he's like, if she was on a boat, would the boat be able to hold her? And Phyllis is just like, what are you asking? He's like, I think you know what I'm asking. And this is literally all where my mind went. It's like, could you hop a fence? Like, as though it's like, could you hop a fence? I want a woman who can hop a fence. I just feel like is such a funny line. But it's also like, when you said that, then I was thinking, every single night when I put my daughters in their cribs and I do it without back pain, it's just like, I can do this.
Yeah.
It's like I can put my 30-pound daughter, I can bend over fully and because there were times in my life where I had really bad back pain, whereas like there was no way, like there were times in my life where bending over to tie my shoes was a really fucking big problem because of powerlifting, Yeah. But so now being able to fully round, full spinal flexion, things that I've been told my whole life were bad. It's like I can do this, no problem. I can throw it in the air, no back pain. That stuff, it's like, I don't know. It's these little movements that your body can do that I feel like maybe when you're younger, you might not care about it as much. But as you get older, what your body can do is like, oh my gosh, it's incredible.
It's funny because people, I think I already told you how old I am, because like people will meet me and they think that I'm a lot younger than I am.
Yeah, I thought you were younger.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
How old do you think I was? Don't be shy. Say less.
I thought you were like 26.
Okay, I take that. I'll accept
You're
that.
31?
I am 31.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
I thought you were like 26.
No, so yeah, I'm 31, and it's funny because people will say like act your age. Like people never tell me that, but they.
That would be another great line. People never tell me to act my age. Okay.
I don't hear that. Like, and it's funny because there's a lot of things where people are like, I bet you get like this is going to be a lot, guys, but people will be like, I bet you get so many dick pics or something like online.
Dear Lord.
People say that. And I'm like, first of all, my following is 80% women, so I take pride in that. But second of all the men who do DM me are very respectful, and I've literally, this isn't me asking for one, by the way, but I've literally never received one in my life.
Yeah,
like,
let's not do that, dude.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
I don't want it. Back when I was like being more back when I was accepting offers for dating,
Are you not accepting offers right now?
Currently, no.
Okay, cool.
And so when I have a whole no highlight on my pro.
I've seen it. I spent too much time on that highlight.
So my favorite animal is me with men, because I will be very sassy and very straightforward when I'm not interested. And there was a time where I was like, you have to write me an essay. And at first I thought like, and this is when I had like a way smaller following. And I was like, no one's going to do this. I got like 50 emails and they were full essays with references from friends.
Stop.
And I was like, oh, wow.
Did you go out with any of them?
I did not.
Stop. You made them write an essay? And
First of all, I didn't make anyone do anything. I just suggested this as an opportunity to date me. And people took it. And I was like, oh, that's crazy.
Did you read them all?
No. Because I honestly didn't think anyone was going to do it. Like this is probably like this is something that I've had to work through in therapy as well, which people have informed me that I am a relatively attractive human being for a number of different reasons.
People have informed me.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
And I think like me gaining and losing weight skewed my perspective of like how I look. I still identify as like the heavier, funny firefighter, like almost like guy best friend.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's how like I view myself. And people are like, that's not really who you are anymore. And I'm like, okay. I don't know what that means, but okay. And so I don't process it that way. And I think that that's also something that people need to be more, like take more pride in, is like recognizing that like, and I think everyone should think that they're a very attractive human being. But like take pride in like who you are and how you look. And again, looks aren't everything, but also like take pride in like, oh, you're a really sick human being with like a great personality and like you can do
sick in a good
things.
way, like
yeah.
East Coast sick.
Yeah, I'm from the West Coast, but still, sometimes I throw in the East Coast verbiage.
You have an East Coast personality.
That's crazy.
Just so you know.
I feel offended by that. I mean, I'm always going to identify as a Californian, even if I live. Do I really? What does that mean?
No, you're more blunt. Most often West Coast is more beat around the bush, not as blunt. East Coast is more in your face.
Because my dad's from the East Coast.
Is he from New Jersey?
Wow.
I fucking knew it.
That's crazy.
I fucking knew it.
He went to...
You act like you're from New Jersey.
Hey.
You do.
I can get crazy. Like, have you seen Jersey Shore? Like, that's me when I go out.
Have I seen Jersey Shore? Are you kidding me?
I don't even drink, but that's me when I go out. Like, that's me sober. So I'm like, that's how I turn up. But then I get crazy with some, like, Bay Area beats. So I'm Bay Area
beats. Well,
so
okay,
like
now
like,
your California comes out.
There you go. Yeah, I'm like, if you listen to my music taste, like
I was like, did you just speak a different language? I was like, what is Bay Area beats? Okay.
You know, like E40 and like.
I mean, you know who I love is Andre Nicotina.
Oh, okay, great.
I love Andre Nicotina.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a little.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah,
good job, kid.
That's Bay Area. Yeah. And like California, you know, like Snoop Dogg, Tupac.
Yeah, I've
Larry
never been.
June. You're like, no.
I mean, I've just never been into that type of music in
That's
general. I
valid.
just really like.
I still
I feel like
respect
Andre
you.
Nickatina is like a very unique voice and music style, and
That's fair.
I've always really enjoyed him.
Yeah. I don't remember how we got to this
I don't either. But
topic.
you were talking about body, and
Hopping
you
over a
should be
fence.
sick. You should be like, yeah, I'm sick.
Oh
You're like,
yeah, you should. Oh yeah, there we go. Like you should be really excited about who you are as a human being, and like take a lot of confidence in that. And so, oh, because we started talking about like dick pics and everything. I started talking about that because I was like, I've never gotten them. I don't want them. But I think that I'm gonna go like way back here and just kind of divert. But I think more people just need to have fun with their fitness because like, why don't you like? To me, doing pull-ups is really fun. And like
Yeah.
I make it a fun time. Like I'm a huge nerd. I love Marvel. I love like anime. I love
really interesting. Okay, cool.
yeah. And so like to me, it's very like I in college, my two roommates, they were both guys, but they were both huge nerds too. And so like we got very like we
Like comic nerds.
yeah.
Like, yeah. Okay.
So like literally we watched like all the Spider-Man, especially like Andrew Garfield's the best Spider-Man. I'll fight anybody who says otherwise. Sorry, Tom Holland. But like we just nerd out hard on all of that stuff. And then I think that's when it all started of like making training fun for that reason. And I think that being drawn to wanting to be like a superhero, because also I was like firefighting and stuff too. I'm like, I want to be a hero. And like, you know, who runs into burning buildings for fun?
Heroes.
Yeah. And
like
so,
literal heroes.
yeah. And I'm like, this is fun. It's also terrifying, but net a good time. But that's how you can like, I think that's how you can make training more interesting is yeah, pursuing like powerlifting or a bodybuilding show or having a goal to work towards is fine. But like if I play, like people think that I'm listening to probably like way different music than I am when I'm training. Sometimes it's Disney, sometimes it is Eminem, but then other times it is like literally like Marvel soundtracks or even like anime shows. And so it's just fun. Superhero landing.
I think the logical question from this would be, well, how do you get more confident, especially if you don't like how you look, right? I think this is one of the most common questions I get is like, how do you get more confident? How do you get more confident? And often the question for my context is, how do you get more confident in front of the camera? Right? People, how do you do that? And I always show them my first videos on YouTube, which were awful. But the only way you get more confident in front of the camera is by getting in front of the camera more. I think in terms, and I'd love your thoughts on this, in terms of confidence in yourself and confidence in your body, I think actually starts with not focusing on what your body looks like.
Yes.
I think it starts with that, which is why we don't have mirrors in our gym for our
really cool.
daughters. Like it's like I don't want you out there like it's fine to look and be proud of how you look, but I think it starts with being proud of what your body can do.
Yes.
That's where it begins, and that's where it's like for you, like you love doing chin ups and pull ups. It's fun. It's like that goal for many people, but I think especially women, it's a huge goal. That's for women. That is the most common goal that I get.
Oh, for sure.
I want to be able to do a chin up. I want to be able to do a chin up, and it's I've had many women, be so overwhelmed with joy and pride when they get it that they break down in tears.
Yeah.
To be able to go through the process of completing a chin up for after years and years and years of hard work to get it, overcome with joy that they break down in tears. It's incredibly emotional. That has literally nothing to do with how you look. Ironically, when you get the consistency and you get the patience and the determination down to be able to do that, you're going to change how you look too.
Yeah.
But it comes from what your body can do, not how it looks.
Yeah. I think I'll touch on two different aspects of confidence because you brought up in front of the camera. I'm going to tell everyone a secret right now, which is I typically take like 2 or 3 takes for my dancing ones because I dance more off camera than I do on camera. And it took me a really long time to get comfortable with it because like when I turn on the camera, especially if I'm in the gym or something, because I'll dance in the gym, I will dance more when the like video is not on because I'm like, oh my gosh, people see me and they probably think that I'm performing right now. And I'm like, it's like the irony of I'm not performing, but now I'm getting in my head. And so I had to work through that where I was so worried about what other people thought that, and like sometimes it still comes up, We're humans. But so part of it is really just getting comfortable with it. And I've learned that if I just keep the camera rolling for longer, then I'm like, okay, now I can actually like be myself and stuff. But from there, I think confidence, I agree that it comes from what your body can do. I think it's even more deep rooted in the sense of if you are not, we kind of talked about this like a little bit, but if you're not doing the things that you said that you would, why would you have confidence in yourself? I wouldn't have confidence in a friend. I wouldn't have confidence in a family member. If they keep telling me they're going to do something, they're not doing it. I'm like, I don't believe you. And I might lose respect for them. I might judge them. I might view them in a different light. Like I might do that. Try not to, but like I might view them differently.
You lose confidence in them.
Yeah.
Literally.
And you are literally doing the same thing to yourself. And again, like I said, if you're doing the things that you say that you're going to do, it doesn't guarantee you're going to love yourself every single day. And it doesn't mean that you're going to not have any bad body image days. And it doesn't mean that you're not going to have days where you do doubt yourself. It means that they're going to be less frequent. It means that you're going to be able to pull yourself out of it faster, where maybe it doesn't turn into a whole day, but it turns into like a moment. But that has to come from how you show up the majority of the time. And again, that kind of even goes back to what are your values? What's your purpose? Are you connecting with people? And when you get clear on those things and then you actually show up in alignment with it, it helps build your confidence. Like that is literally what confidence is.
You bring up an amazing point that you are going to have bad body image days, moments, whatever. You're not always going to love yourself, who you are, what you do. That's normal, I think. And it's especially nowadays, it's not something we hear enough. It's just like, always love yourself, always this. It's like, okay, come on. Like that's not, I don't know anyone who always does. And in fact, the people who always are the one who are saying always, 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 you do. Like they're usually the ones who are the least happy with themselves, but that's a separate topic. What you said was turning it from an entire day to a moment and not letting it affect you as much throughout the duration, and maybe not letting it change your actions. Cool. Maybe you look in the mirror, you're like, ugh, I don't like how I look. Okay, cool. Time to go to the gym. Okay, cool. Let's go on.
Yeah.
Rather than it negatively affecting you for the entire day, and especially for parents, which is, that's my lens right now. It's like everything to me, but it's like not letting it affect how you speak to or about yourself in front of your children. Because I mean, that's going to massive, like if you think your kids aren't noticing how you think you look affects you, which will then affect them. I mean, they're super aware. But even regardless of whether you have kids or not, getting to a point in which you can have these moments, accept it as normal, and continue about your day and keep your promises to yourself, that's progress. And that's what we're aiming for. We're not aiming for perfection. We're just aiming for continued action.
I think that comes from, again, giving yourself grace as you're starting out, because you are literally trying to change who you are as a human being. And you are currently who you are right now is a byproduct of all of the habits that you have done in the past however many years you've been alive. And there's probably things deep rooted in your childhood that still come up that you don't even recognize. And especially as you're on a journey to changing who you are, you're gonna get triggered by things. And you're gonna want to revert back to that old identity because it's more comfortable, because it's more safe, because it's familiar, not because it actually is better for you, but because it's familiar. And this is where the whole like discomfort equals growth aspects comes in, where learning to recognize when those things come up, holding space for them, which I think a lot of us haven't been taught, which is why a lot of us like emotionally eat, or again, like turn to the gym, or like we aren't taught how to emotionally regulate. And when we aren't taught that, that's when we kind of lean into like poor habits. So the more you can build that emotional resiliency, the easier, I'm not going to say easier, the quicker you can pull yourself out of those moments and like go about your day and go about your life as you normally would.
I'm going to take a very sharp turn.
Go for it.
Complete change of discussion.
This is crazy, okay?
This is crazy.
Is it about Harry Potter?
Oh my gosh.
He's like, don't get me started.
Don't get me started.
I bought
on
a
that.
Dobby yesterday.
I saw that. That was awesome. No, this is so we're now it's even a sharper turn.
Okay.
in early May, you said, and I have a direct quote, you said, I see your eyes go up. You're like, what did I say in early May?
I know. I'm like,
You said, it was one of the hardest decisions of my life, but 2 weeks ago, I made the decision to cut my mom out of my life completely.
Mm-hmm.
You went on to say you had tried to force the relationship your whole life, but in the end, it was something that just kept hurting you.
Mm-hmm.
I personally have had a very similar experience. My father and I, we haven't spoken in many, 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 many years. Can you talk about why you decided to share this publicly?
Yeah. So, my mom and I have had a very complicated relationship since I was about like 17, 18. And this isn't like a bad thing by any means. I'm going to get emotional while talking about this, and that's totally fine.
And
I
if you
just
don't want to talk about it, we can skip it.
Oh, no, you're fine. No, you're fine. I shared it publicly. It's fine. I just always preface like I'm going to get emotional. I've been the person who, this is probably like more deep rooted than maybe you like intended it to be, but I've been the person who would fall on my sword for other people. And what I mean by that is I would keep showing up and basically like stabbing myself to try to be the savior. I'm an ENFJ, if anyone knows what that is. Like I'm the protagonist. Like I want to say, like, again, big surprise. I was a firefighter. I want to be the hero. I want to save people. And that comes from my childhood of like needing someone to save me. And I was the last person in the family who had been around still. And it was coming at the cost of my mental health. And again, like I grew up where I didn't have like a very close family. And I'm not going to apologize because it's not a bad thing to cry.
We have tissues if you want tissues.
It's okay. I probably won't like full on cry. But I've always dreamed of having like a very like tight family because you see that online. Again, like you see that like you, or even like you grow up with people who have like are really close to their parents or have like this big family. And again, this is the kind of societal pressure thing too, where it's like I on that post, I know I said it's a red flag if someone isn't close to their family. And you hear that and you think something's wrong with you and you think you have to force this relationship. And that's why I shared it online, because people think there's something wrong with them or they think that they're giving up on something, and that, again, like in society's eyes, that they're like a bad person. When it was costing me so much to try to save this person. And I didn't want to be the person who kept losing myself. And I just wanted, and my goal with my platform has always been to show people that they're not alone. And I try and be thoughtful of how I share. Like I never want it to be, me personally, I don't want it to be like a journal where like maybe right as I'm processing something, I'm sharing it, because I think that sometimes that can, personally for me, I think that it's important for me to take space for myself first and then like learn what I can. And maybe while I'm still processing it, then I can share it. But yeah, I shared it because, again, I like to push against society a lot and say like, hey, like this is actually isn't the only way you can live your life. But then also I got like so many DMs and messages from people saying that they really needed to hear that. And that it was like a really hard decision for them, or even people who have like lost family members. And they were like, I just felt like there was something wrong with me. And I'm like, there's nothing wrong with you. Like, you're just a human. And like, again, like even looking at our parents, they do the best they can with what they're given, which is never, I think what's really important is I hear a lot of people say that, and we almost use that as like an excuse then. Because I think it is important to, yes, recognize that. And again, hold empathy for like, yes, our parents did do the best they could with what they were given. That doesn't excuse that you weren't given the love and the protection and the closeness that you deserved. And I think I like say pretty much that in the video. Like, it's okay to mourn the relationship that you didn't get. And it's okay to like look at these other people and be envious of it. But then also recognize like you get to choose who your family is. Like I'm going to get emotional for like a different reason now. This is like a gratitude thing. I have the best friends in the world. Like I said, this year really tested me. And my friends have shown me the most like unconditional love that I've ever experienced in my life. And it made walking away from my mom one of the easiest things in the world. Because I realized like what I was chasing with her is something I already have. And for people who don't have that, like again, like there's nothing wrong with like walking away, and like if you feel alone, I promise you're not. There's probably at least one person out there for you, but also like you will find people who love you just for who you are. This goes back to like that whole worth conversation. I felt like I kept needing to try to prove my worth to her. And then also I felt like I kept needing to like save her. And I'm like, you don't want to be saved. And that's not my problem. So yeah, I think that I just shared it so people didn't feel alone.
I love that.
Yeah.
The quote that you used at the beginning, which is when people say it's a red flag if you're not close to your family, that hit with me as well, because I'll frame it this way. One of the best quotes I've ever heard about parenting, which is now basically all my feed is just parenting stuff,
Figures.
is you know you've succeeded as a parent when your kids want to hang out with you when they're adults. And I feel like that is far less common than we see. Because the stuff that we see, I mean, think about it. The stuff we see on social media about fitness is people who are jacked and people who are shredded and people with this. It's like the vast majority of people are not like that.
Yeah.
But that's all we see on social media. And so I think we see on social media these oftentimes super close families, but I think that's actually far more rare.
Yeah.
And every family has issues. Every single family has issues. But for the people who say to the effect of if someone's not close to their family, it's a red flag, I think what you bring up is really important, and also to remember that not everyone in your family has your best interest at heart all the time. And not every family is made up of all very good people. And going to, I never want to speak, I think you're the same. I don't want to speak poorly about someone, especially if they can't sit in this chair with me and like have that conversation. But I made that decision with my dad a long time ago as well. It's funny. My parents got divorced when I was 16.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And whenever people hear like my parents got divorced, they're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "No, you don't get it. That was a blessing. Like, I wish it happened way earlier because it was living in that house was fucking hell.
Yeah.
It was brutal." Did your parents get divorced as well?
Yeah. They got divorced when I was in like second, third grade.
Okay.
They should never have been married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the people who grew up in a house where it was like, if I'll say this, if you're an adult and you like hanging out with your parents, that's like the greatest blessing ever.
Yeah.
That your parents did a great job.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I'm glad that you were willing to speak about it, because I think it's an important message.
Yeah, I mean, because you even asked me, you were like, "Is there anything off limits?" And I'm like, "No," because I think that I try to be very transparent, and then like if there is like, kind of like what you said is, I try never to speak like ill of anybody who I've had experiences with or anything like that, especially if like they can't be in the same room as me. And again, like I'll defend people almost to my own fault, and I think that that's another like important take that people need to have. is we're really quick to assume the worst out of everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And like, this is a slightly, I guess, different one thing actually, but it's you be okay with being misunderstood.
I like that.
Because I think that, again, a lot of us will try and prove like, well, no, that's not what I did, or that wasn't my intention, or whatever. And again, like, yeah, like your parents, like they try and do the best they can, and people will like be like, oh, my mom did this, and like you're putting so much blame on them, and like they maybe did do a lot of crappy things. You don't have to keep dealing with it. You don't have to keep telling yourself the story of however this person treated you. And this can go for like any type of relationship, friendships, significant others, again, your parents, just anything. And we'll hold on to these like grudges and be like, no, like this is, it was wrong. It was all these things. What are you getting from holding on to it?
Mm-hmm.
And then again, like, what are you getting from continually like talking about them and like letting the pain of them keep living in your life? So I talk about it, like I talk about the mom thing so that people understand that like you can make a hard decision, but then like I don't keep talking about it. Like, are there days where it sucks and like I kind of think about it? Yeah. And I'll like acknowledge that it hurts and it's uncomfortable. And then I move on.
Mm-hmm. On the opposite end of the spectrum,
Ooh.
I would say don't be, I know you didn't make that decision lightly, and it wasn't a quick decision.
No.
And I think many people might be like, oh, okay, well, I'm just going to cut this person out because I don't like this one thing they did. It's like, I don't care if it's a parent. I don't care if it's a partner, spouse, whatever. Don't be so quick to cut people out just because maybe they made one mistake or a couple of mistakes. Like, any relationship worth having takes work.
Yeah.
And I would say, especially with family, work your absolute hardest to make it work. And then if it comes a point where it's like you can objectively say this is causing way more harm and this is no longer worth it, well, that's a decision that only you can make. But, and I've shared this quote many times, we judge ourselves by our intent and other people by their actions. Family is worth fighting for. It's always worth fighting for until it comes to a point where it's not. And you have to be very, very careful with don't jump the gun, right? For the most people.
Yeah.
And I say that because you didn't jump the gun.
Oh, no.
You fought for it. I'm talking about the people who are listening who are like, oh, okay, this person, they one uncomfortable situation or like one difficult situation, now you're cut out of my life. Don't be that person.
Yeah.
It's worth fighting for until it gets to, I think about it in same thing with money. Like, making more money will solve more problems until making more money will cause more problems. And if after a certain point pursuing this relationship is causing more problems, that's when you really need to have that discussion with yourself. But don't be so quick to make this decision to cut someone out of your life. I think it's a dangerous place to be as well.
Yeah, and I think that, again, like, here's the kicker with literally everything in life. Like, I definitely stuck around way longer than I should have. And so that's where, like, there is no right or wrong way to do it. You're going to have to learn. Like, that's the crappy part. But I very much agree that right now we live in a society that has taught us instant gratification, and there is a huge lack of emotional regulation and emotional intelligence. And it leads people to dip out on situations more quickly and use avoidance as a tool to just avoid discomfort. And the reality is, like, a quote, I also shared this, I think, recently too, because one of my clients was talking about how she doesn't go to people, like, she doesn't go to her friends a lot for advice anymore, or for even just support mentally, because she's in a larger body and a lot of her friends have never been. And so she was like, well, I feel like every time I go to them about something, I'm just disappointed. And I'm like, okay, have you communicated what you need and or want from them in those situations. And she's like, well, no, they just wouldn't understand me. And I'm like, okay, so you want to be understood, but what does that even mean? And I'm like, do you want them to find a solution for you? Do you want them to just hear you out? And I'm like, they can be empathetic, but also have you explained what your situation is?
What you want from them.
Yeah. And one of my favorite quotes is, unspoken expectations lead to premeditated resentment. And a lot of times we go into situations with an expectation of how this person should act, how they should behave. And this goes back to the different like socioeconomic upbringings, where it's like, we are literally all different people. And we are going to view everything very unique and very different. And it is unfair to assume that somebody else is going to know exactly how you think, feel, and or want to act. And it is our responsibility. If you've never read the book, Crucial Conversations, I love that book. I think it's so great. I think it's a great tool to start to learn how to communicate. The problem is you then have to put it into action. And guess what? It's really fucking uncomfortable. It is so uncomfortable because now you are being very vulnerable and telling this person, this is how I want to be treated. This is how I want to be helped and supported. And this is what's important to me. And you are now giving that person an opportunity to either show up for you or not. And guess what? They might not. And it fucking sucks and it hurts. And that's part of life. But a lot of people are so scared. If anyone else also hasn't seen like The Power of Vulnerability by Brene Brown, it's on YouTube. And also she has a great Audible special. You need to listen to it because being vulnerable is one of the most scary and uncomfortable things that we can do, like to really let ourselves be seen. And this is what I was kind of talking about with like no longer performing. And it's risky to give people that opportunity. But then also, what if it all works out? What if like really great stuff comes from it? And also, what if like maybe it doesn't work out and then you're like, hey, did I actually communicate that well? Like, again, this is where like we have to kind of do the give and the take of this, of like, well, what role did I play in this? And what opportunities do I have in this? How can I maybe do this better? And so, yeah, I think that there's no right and or wrong way to go about it. There's probably better ways to go about like when to cut somebody off or when to create those boundaries and things like that. But then you also take accountability of like, well, what's the role that I played in it?
You brought up the point around even how socioeconomics can play into this. And it's funny because obviously that plays a huge role, and it can play a huge role into who you are and who you become. I was also thinking that, do you have siblings?
I have a twin brother and then 2 half sisters.
Okay. I'm assuming you don't all agree on everything, right? So it's like you could take 2 people or multiple people who grew up in the same house. Parents are the exact same parents. Grew up in the same, more or less, situation, but have very different outlooks on life.
Yeah.
And I think about my mom and her oldest brother. They're 10 years apart. Their views on their parents are polar opposites. And siblings, listen, parents are people. They're not always perfect.
Yeah.
Parents might treat one child differently than another child. So which means like you might have 2 kids from the same parents, same house, same socioeconomic status, completely different relationships with their parents, completely different outlook on the world, which is to your point, just saying that we are all unique individuals shaped completely differently by so many different inputs and outputs. And to be aware of that as you're having these conversations, just knowing that whether whether they grew up in a different part of the world or literally they grew up in the room next to you down the hall, we are all unique individuals, and having to be aware of that is important.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting because like my brother and I grew up way different. And it's funny because I say this like respectfully, that he grew up I'm going to use this, and I don't know if it's technically like correct, but it's like he grew up more on the like, I'm going to say feminine energy side of things.
Okay.
Like he has a girlfriend. Like I'm not saying like
he's not gay,
like,
but he has more feminine energy.
Yeah.
That's
like
fine.
he likes like very bougie things, and he like he like to me that's like very feminine energy. I don't know if that's fair. But like meanwhile, like I'm the one who like, again, like I want to do all the like physical stuff of like the firefighting and the bodybuilding.
You have more
and
masculine energy. Yeah, that comes through.
Yeah, and so I give like a big dick energy. Apparently, do you know Andrew Coates?
I do know Andrew Coates. I love Andrew Coates.
So we were at a fitness conference in April, and I am gonna pull this one out. So if Jared Hamilton watches this, love you.
Love Jared.
But so there we go. So Fitness Space is so small. We're like, there was a group of us that like became friends from like, we all kind of knew each other from online, but it was our first time really interacting in person. And there was like 4 of us. And we sit down at the table, and it was like, I think the last day of the conference, and Andrew Coates comes over to us, and he's like talking to like to our group and everything. And he was like, I can tell you're the leader. And I was like, what does that mean? And he was like, you just have this like big dick energy. And I was like, and he literally slapped the arm on the table. And I was like, okay. And then he was like, I could tell Jared was upset when I said that. I was like, I don't think he was.
He's like, no, I'm the alpha in this room. It's so funny.
And it was funny because I was like, what does that mean? And I'm like, I've just learned to be more unapologetic, I think is what it is. But like my brother and I are so different in that sense, where he's very quiet. And I try not to be like boastfully loud. Like I think sometimes people put on like a face and are like want to be the center of attention in that sense.
Yeah.
I don't mind when I have attention on me, but I
the looks at the camera are
they're
incredible.
always timed.
They are.
You gotta like work with it. But so I try to be like aware of it, I guess. Where I'm not like doing it to get attention. I'm doing it because like there are certain situations where I know like I deserve this attention. Like I've earned it. And I think people take shame in that for some reason. Like people are like ashamed to say like I've earned this attention, or like, no, I deserve to like command attention right now. What's wrong with that? That's
Nothing.
a really beautiful thing. It was like Alona, she had done an interview and they were like, oh, do you ever get imposter syndrome? She's like, I don't know what that is.
I love that.
And I'm like, good. Like, why? More people need to think that way.
Yeah.
Like, goes back to confidence. When you are showing up with like integrity, like I'm so clear on my core values. And that's why like I'm okay with being misunderstood. I'm okay with sometimes people assuming the worst out of me. Like I've had that happen recently with people I really cared about, where they like were assuming the worst out of me. And I was like, but I didn't do those things. And I was like, oh, this is the story that you're telling yourself. And I can keep trying to defend myself, but we're going to reach a point where you need to rewire your brain. It is no longer my responsibility, because I'm going to keep showing you who I am. But like, there comes a point where it's not my problem anymore, and it's actually doing me more harm than good. And so I think that it's interesting how my brother and I like came up so differently, because he's more timid and more shy, whereas clearly I'm not. And we swapped what like a typical gender expectation would be, which I think is important to recognize. Like there shouldn't be an expectation anyways. We're all just gonna turn out however we turn out.
I think people often hear feminine or masculine and they just assume that means like if you say your brother has feminine characteristics, people think, oh, so he's acting like a woman. It's like, no, that's not how it works. Like there are feminine characteristics and there are masculine characteristics irrespective of gender.
Yeah.
And like and you can, if anyone listening, you can Google like what are masculine characteristics or what are feminine characteristics, which I just thought it was funny that you're like, he has a girlfriend. Like
I was just thinking that when you said that, I was like, do you like how I literally in my head was like, I feel like I need to like now say that, by the way, guys, like I'm not saying he's not gay. When it's like, but that's like, how crazy is that we live in a society where like, if I say that maybe like he does lean in that way a little bit more, it's not a good or a bad thing. It's literally just how he acts.
Yeah,
and I'm like, And even so, like people will be like, like I see this a lot when people talk about like dating. They'll be like, I finally have this man who like makes me feel comfortable to wear pink again. And I'm like, why don't you feel comfortable wearing pink on your own? I don't, pink's my color. And I'm like, pink and red. And I'm like, I love like having flowers around my place and getting dressed up and doing these things. And I'm like, why are we saying that this is like feminine energy? And also, why are we relying on another human to then make it feel safe and comfortable for us to do that in the first place?
That's an interesting question. That's a very, very interesting question. I sort of want to, I know this is supposed to be a fitness podcast, but I want to talk about that. What does that mean? Why would someone say, this man has made me feel comfortable wearing pink? What does that mean? I don't even know what that means.
So what I've gathered is they now feel safer to not feel like they have to carry the load of doing everything on their own, and they can they can kind of like relax into their feminine energy more.
Okay.
Like quotations.
Okay.
And so to me, this is my own perspective always, which is like, as somebody who's had to like earn everything on their own, like I've had to always make my own money. I've always had to support myself. Like I've been doing that since I was 16, and it's made me more like harder exterior, I guess. And I guess like that's kind of pushed the kind of like masculine type energy. But I also like, you can create that safety in yourself. You don't have to wait till somebody else like allows you to feel safe. Do I think that that's important where you're in a dynamic that you feel safe and secure? Yes, but that's a whole deeper conversation around like attachment theory, not just around like feeling like you can wear the color pink. Like, why does pink have this connotation anyways of like, it's only earned as you're more like what? More girly, more feminine, more
I'm wondering if
soft.
I'm wondering if it has less to do with pink and more to do with, I finally met someone who I feel so comfortable with that I can just relax. And then through that relaxation and through that not worrying about other things, then they can just focus on things that they enjoy. Where like maybe that's what they're saying, where it's like it has less to do with the color pink and less to do with, and more it's just like, I'm finally in a relationship with someone who lets me feel like I can be myself and comfortable with myself, whatever that is. Maybe that's what they're saying.
Oh yeah, I agree. I think that is what they're saying, because it's, I guess, like, again, this is what I've kind of just learned in therapy, which is like, it's important to try to get that security from yourself, but also like, obviously as you, now we're kind of going on like a different side tangent, but it's like, as you get into any type, and this is any type of relationship, but specifically like couple relationships, you are going to be triggered in a very different way, because it's significantly more vulnerable, because this is your person. This is the person that you're supposed to turn to when it comes to opening up to things that are uncomfortable, or again, like your insecurities. Like ideally you are being like a whole new level of transparent with this person. And a lot of times, I guess this also kind of goes back to like the performing aspect too. A lot of times people think they need to like put on put their best foot forward. And so maybe that's also why they'll have like a harder exterior, and then someone has to like crack through it to get to it, when it's like, if we work on those things on our own, we can try to get to that point to an extent, but you're also not going to get triggered the same as you would in a relationship, because you're going to get triggered differently.
I think it works both ways. And this might be very controversial. People probably even pissed. I'm going to say this. I think it's impossible to get everything you need from yourself.
I agree.
I agree. It's absolutely impossible to get everything you need from yourself, and it's absolutely impossible to get everything you need from someone else.
Yeah.
It's both.
I've dated somebody who told me that like, they were like, my responsibility is like to make you happy. And very quickly, like literally immediately, I was like, that's not your responsibility.
At all. Yeah.
I was like, and also it's not my responsibility to make you happy. I'm like, I hope that we make ourselves happy. And then we now get to like bring that happiness to each other. But don't put my happiness as your responsibility.
Correct.
And I think that I wholeheartedly, I hope that's not a controversial take that you just said, because people,
everything is controversial nowadays.
Valid. But a lot of people will say like, I just need to work on myself alone. You are not gonna get triggered the same way alone that you would in a relationship. And you're not gonna get triggered the same way in a friendship as you would in a relationship. Like it is completely different. And like you need to go through a relationship to get triggered. And you then, similar to what you said earlier, like people will just dip out very quickly. You need to be okay with sitting in that discomfort, taking accountability, recognizing where these things are coming up, and work through it.
I like that you're using triggered in like a positive connotation. It's the first time I've heard someone do that, and I love it.
Yeah.
It's like rather than saying, oh, this triggers me, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Which is really like why people put a trigger warning up. Like, hey, just might trigger you so you can leave.
Yeah.
You're saying you're going to get triggered and you should sit with it.
Yeah.
I love that.
Triggers are opportunities for growth.
I love that.
That's like the whole growth versus fixed mindset, which again, you're going to have that in different areas of your life regardless. Like you can be very growth oriented when it comes to work, but then not when it comes to relationships. And so like you have to recognize that you can say you're growth oriented, but then realize like maybe there's certain areas where you're not. But yeah, if you can put the ego to the side, I feel like a lot of it comes down to ego. But if you can put the ego to the side and recognize that you getting triggered, like, I think this is like I might butcher however this is supposed to be said, but like a quote, good relationship is going to hold a mirror in front of your face and it is going to trigger you. It doesn't mean it should be like painful, like notebook fighting all the time.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no,
absolutely not.
that's horrible. But if you're getting like insecure or jealous or feeling less than, like I've dated people like way in the past where, especially as I was like first coming up on social media and stuff, where they would start to feel like less than because they didn't have like as big of a following or they weren't like making as much as me. And I was like, why is that a problem? And I'm like, I'm trying to understand it. And then they're just like, they start shutting down. And I'm like, well, can't we, like, if you don't want that, then that's fine. But if it just bothers you or it makes you feel inferior, like, let's break that down and understand it. Like, if you're just like, no, I want to be the person who makes more. Okay, great. Go find someone else then. Like, that's not my problem. But if you're like, it's making me uncomfortable and I don't want to sit with it, it's like, okay, well then that's also your problem to not sit with something uncomfortable.
I would imagine a guy in that situation is super uncomfortable with it because men have been told that they need to be the provider and that they're less attractive if they don't. And so in that situation, what a man should have done is said exactly that. This is making me uncomfortable because I feel like you're not going to find me as attractive, in which you could have had then the opportunity to say, I don't give a shit how much you make. Yeah. It's irrelevant. I find you attractive because of who you are and your values and da-da-da. That, to your point, is where we need to have these conversations. Yeah. We need to learn to communicate. Yes. We need to say exactly how you're feeling. Yeah. And let me ask you this. Before we started recording, we were talking about brand, da-da-da, and I was like, I feel like often people don't know how to define brand. How do you define ego?
That's a great question. And I feel like I've needed to sit with that more because I don't feel like I have an immediate answer for that. When I think of ego, this is how I think of it. Yeah. So I wouldn't know if it's like a technical definition, but it's more like, I guess I do view ego in sometimes more of a negative light, where it's your inability. Well, I don't want to say inability. It is defense mechanisms and insecurities that make it harder for you to show up as your authentic self. And the ego is the kind of like barrier to then like put those things down. Because like telling someone like, hey, I feel really insecure because like I can feel my belly rolls here. You might not want to tell someone that because you're like, oh, they can judge me now, or like they're going to see it. Or even saying like I'm 35 and I'm unemployed or something. Like some people will feel like they're less than because of that. And we even talked about like, one, ask yourself, are the things that your ego is currently like stroking things that you have zero control over? Like we just talked about like your like height. You have no control over that. You cannot change it. You can maybe get like knee surgery or whatever and maybe get a
Oh my
couple
gosh.
inches. Like that's crazy. But like there are certain things that you have zero control over. So if you're worried about that, what is that doing for you, for one? But then two, if we then get deeper of like the insecurities around like finances or around weight or around even like, I'll stick to those. But like finances or weight. You are now telling yourself a story that you are less than because of it. And like similar to what you said, you're like, yeah, you can have an opportunity to tell people that. I say that all the time online, like all the time, where I'm like, I don't care how tall somebody is. I don't care how much somebody weighs. I don't care how much money you make. I don't care how famous you are. I don't care about any of that. How you treat people is everything.
Mm-hmm.
That is everything. Because no matter what, like, especially in a, like, if we're talking about relationships again, or if we're just talking about you as a human being, you're going to get old. Your body's going to change. Like, there's going to be a number of different things that happen. You are not going to be remembered for like how much money you had in the bank or what your weight on the scale or even how much you lifted. You're going to be remembered for how you made people feel.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, again, I think the ego is a lot of like insecurities that aren't letting you be completely vulnerable.
That I completely agree with.
Yeah.
It's the protection, and this is the protective mechanism against letting people see you be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
It's the facade that you put up. It's that, I completely agree. It's if you are nervous to say how you truly feel, or if we're going to get even deeper with it,
Mm-hmm.
if you're not even willing to let yourself see how you truly feel, because that takes a certain level of objectivity that is very difficult to get to, right? Where do you have conversations with yourself in your head?
Sometimes.
There-
Sometimes I'll just journal.
Journal,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like, so you can, the journaling is interesting because journaling, I feel like it allows you to, it's no longer in your head. It's almost like you can see yourself from above, right? Where it's like you have the conversation that you can have in your head. But I think the thing about journaling, I also think it's the same thing. I don't journal just because I just don't enjoy writing it down, but I will have conversations out loud with myself.
Okay.
People will think I'm fucking crazy.
Do you do it in public?
You know what I do? This is crazy. You know what? So, if I ever have anxiety, the worst thing I can do is stay in my head.
That's fair.
So
That's really fair.
I need to verbalize it. I do really well with words, with speaking. So if I've ever been in public, I used to do this in New York,
Where it's a little less questionable.
where it's less questionable, but I would take out my phone
Oh.
and pretend to have a conversation and literally be like, hey man, I'm feeling really anxious right now. I think and I would literally pretend to have a conversation so it wouldn't look like I was fucking psychotic.
Yeah.
But it would help me in a moment of serious anxiety be able to speak out loud.
Yeah.
And no one would even question it. Whereas if I'm sitting at a coffee table,
Yeah.
just hands in my side and being like, hey man, I'm really nervous right now. People are like, what the fuck is going on? You put your phone to your head and all of a sudden people don't think twice about it. But when you start verbalizing whether or writing it down, I feel like you can see yourself from above and you have a new view of objectivity but it's very difficult. It's very difficult to potentially see yourself in a light that needs improvement. It's very easy to look at other people, what they need to do, what they need to do, what can I do? Where did I mess up? What did I not say? What was I hiding to protect my ego?
Yeah.
And how can I, you know what I actually really, as a business owner and when I hire people, one thing I pay very close attention to is someone's willingness to apologize.
Ooh.
If I have someone who is, whenever I hire someone, it's the first thing I do is we're going to do a 3-month trial period. And if there's a mistake that's made, something wasn't delivered on time, something that we agreed to that wasn't done, I'm the first one to apologize if it's my mistake. If they don't apologize, and it's a red flag, we'll say. I'm like, if this is a consistent theme where they make mistakes but they don't apologize for it, it's like, okay, there's a reason why. And I think usually when someone won't apologize, it's their way of protecting their ego.
Oh, 100%.
If they're not willing to say, hey, I'm sorry, I made a mistake, that immediately is like there's friction here that they're not willing to go down.
Yeah. I'll backtrack a little bit because I love the idea of using your phone. I think that that's beautiful because I'll tell a lot of clients like take a voice memo and like that way you're kind of talking out loud. But I'm like, yeah, literally the same thing. That's why I was like, oh, I love that. And also it shows our age that we do this instead of this.
My daughter, she does this, and then literally we were pretending to start the car. We were like in the playroom. She was like, "Come on, Abba, let's go to school," and she did this. I was trying to turn the key and she did this. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're old.
Yeah.
And so I love that. And I think that that's like a beautiful tool. And then I think accountability is so important. Like I agree on the apologizing because that's a level of like accountability. And I agree that it like when someone can't take an accountability, it's like a huge red flag. Because they're essentially suggesting that they're either perfect or their ego is not allowing them to recognize where they have opportunities for growth. We all have opportunities for growth. We're all human beings. We all have like messy parts of us. And so like being able to take accountability for that is huge. And then I also think I'm going to play devil's advocate just a little bit. That like also, I always love doing that, but it's, as a recovering people pleaser, it's also important to recognize when you're over like taking accountability for other people, or for like for things that maybe you don't need to take accountability for. So kind of recognizing too, like, am I overdoing it? Am I trying to like keep putting like, am I putting 80% into this relationship, whereas like the other person like doesn't care? Which is like that can kind of come down to the ego. Is like if this other person never wants to apologize or never wants to take accountability, and you keep trying to like get it out of them, then you're like, what am I doing? And you're again, it's getting back on the sword. But yeah, I agree. I think that should be a huge red flag.
All right. So you shared a quote that said, I like people who are just the right amount of ridiculous to remind you that life isn't that serious.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
It means that it's not that serious. Like people get so like, and like myself included, like sometimes we're all going to get stressed. Like you have to pay your bills. There's like things that you need to take care of in life. I'm never being ignorant to that. But damn, like we got one life. You're really going to like spend it just fucking stressed the heck and bob out over like everything. But like, I think like, and that's part of the reason like why I dance and stuff. And it's so funny because like, I never thought it was like weird. I've literally had people like message me and be like, at first when I started watching your like dancing videos, I was kind of like bothered by them.
People were bothered by, people are the worst.
They're not the worst.
They're the worst. They were bothered by, that's literally one of the, when I see your story pop up and it's in the morning, I know I'm about to see you dancing to great music. The fact that would bother people is wild.
Some people are just unhappy.
Yeah.
And that's your prerogative. And so prerogative.
I feel like your response is you have empathy for them.
I do.
Which is really nice. It's sweet because it's like, listen, I understand that maybe you're unhappy and seeing someone else happy could be difficult for you. So I appreciate that you have empathy for them. I might just be getting to a point where I'm an old jaded man where I'm just like, shut the fuck up. Be happy that someone else is happy. Like,
I mean, to me, I'm like, I can have empathy for you. Not my problem. Like that's the thing. It's like, well, what am I gonna do? Stop dancing? No.
Nope.
And so, I think that like I love when people are driven and passionate. I think that is so important. And I like that was one of the greatest compliments I've even gotten like this year, where someone was like, "You just do everything with like so much passion," and I literally responded. I was like, "Well, yeah, that's life. Like, why would I not just be passionate about everything that I do?" Like it's so short. Like we literally talked about this before the podcast too, of like today would literally have been one of my friend's birthdays and he took his own life. And I get that was something technically in his control, but it's like still you don't know what could happen. You never know what can happen. And so it's like, not to quote the Joker, but like, why so serious?
Do you do impressions?
Not well.
I was going to ask if you want to do like that. Because I mean, that...
no, so the one that I always do...
Heath Ledger. Oh my gosh.
Absolute savage.
The literal greatest Joker of all time.
No.
Speaking of, you never know what can happen.
Yeah. 10 Things I Hate About You is one of my favorite movies ever. That one, like, I'm a big yearner. Like, I'm like a old school yearning. Like, I'm like,
Well, I've never heard any. What do you mean you're a yearner?
you don't know what yearning means?
No, I know what it means. I've never heard anyone say like I'm a big like.
You gotta go like yearn for yearn, baby. Like there was this guy on TikTok, and he was like, he's this British guy wearing like these like very Harry Potter style glasses. It's gonna make sense, and so he's British. I don't do a good British accent, but I can try. I know I'm not gonna try because I'm giggling too much, and I would just mess it up, and it would be horrible. But he's basically like, oh, do they match my freak? Do they match your yearn? Are they willing to go yearn for you? If they're not, clock it and leave. Like, goodbye.
I've never heard that. That's
and I was
so
like,
funny.
I love this man. And like the top comment was, thank you, Harry Potter. And I was like,
I love that.
But no, like I'm like to go back to, I guess, like the dating aspect of things, but it's like I'm a lover girl. Like I like when I think of like 10 Things I Hate About You, and I'm thinking about like the yearning, like the desire and like missing somebody, and I'm like, I think that it's so like beautiful and so exciting, and it's like I think that that's probably the passion that like people think about too. Cause like, I think, yes, you can yearn in a relationship, but like, I'm going to yearn in like life. Like I'm going to dream about like all of these incredible things that you can do. So that's what I mean when I say I'm like a yearner. But from the Dark Knight trilogy, the one that I always go back to is actually Bane.
Oh my gosh, he's
I was
incredible.
born in the darkness, and I'm like, that's like,
I love that. I love that's one of the greatest scenes.
Oh yeah,
of all time.
Oh yes, I'm like, Christopher Nolan is one of the greatest directors. Like,
yeah,
I'll be honest. I'm probably never gonna rewatch Oppenheimer because it was so long.
Great movie.
It was so great, but I was like, I do think not to go on like a movie tangent here, but The Prestige I think is one of the most wildly underrated movies. So yeah, I could go down that rabbit hole too. What did we talk about that started this?
Yearning is what's sticking out in my head, but
passion.
Yeah.
Like people not taking things so seriously.
Let me ask you this. Because you said you do everything with passion, right? Everything you do with passion, which I think it makes sense because you're going to be very deliberate with what you choose to do. Like if you're not going to choose it, then you're not going to do it passionately, right? When you are in a relationship, do you notice that you go all in or more in on the relationship, and other areas of your life you don't go as hard in as you would have before? Like if you're in a relationship, are you less about work or less about other things, and you're like, I'm really focused on this? Like, does that ever fluctuate what you're giving to other things when you get into a relationship or otherwise?
I think it can. I think that like in relationships I've had it like where it fluctuates just depending on like the season of the relationship, which I think is normal.
Yeah, of course.
And it's like there's like the excitement and like honeymoon phases, and then there's also like, oh, okay, like finding the balance or like the new balance of whatever that might be. But I've been told more often than not that I have a bigger problem taking a step back from work. And like I said, I mean, the past like 3 months was probably like the most I've taken a step back to spend more time with myself because I hadn't really done that. And so I think that, I know, I think I like, I've been told I just do everything all out, which, yeah, I don't think things take like a back burner.
Do you ever relax all out? You ever go hard on relaxing?
Yeah. Literally, oh my gosh. When I was in Chicago, I had like gotten like 16,000 steps, and it was like 2 p.m. And I was like, I had so many donuts and things too that day. So I was like, but like by that time I was like, I'm so tired. And so like I ended up binge watching. Oh wait, no. I relaxed for like a couple hours, and then I went to karaoke. So like kind of relaxed. But then the next day when I got home, I literally spent the whole day on the couch, and I finished all of Solo Leveling.
To me,
what? Solo Leveling. It's an anime show.
Oh, okay.
Do you like anime?
I've never watched it once.
If you ever are like interested in it, I would suggest starting with Solo Leveling. It's a great one.
Okay.
And so to me, that's relaxing.
Okay. Yeah.
Is that considered relaxing?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you struggle with?
a lot of things, but I'm just trying to think of like exactly what. And that's not like an ego thing. It's literally just like I do struggle with a lot of things. Like I like being the best at things I do,
Okay.
but I also recognize I won't be.
You struggle accepting that?
No.
Okay.
Like I know I'm never going to be the richest person in the world. I know I'm never going to be the coach with the biggest roster in the world or anything like that. But I know I want to put my best foot forward and do the best that I can. Like I definitely like struggle with a lot of things. Like I have hard days, and so like that's one thing I guess is like when I have a hard day, I have sometimes a hard time accepting that. Like I don't like when I have a hard day because I'm like, okay, this feels like a waste of a day. But then but then I'll do it, and then I'm like,
why does it feel like a waste?
if it's compiled like too many days in a row or something, then I'm like, what am I doing?
Just like not being productive?
Yeah. But then also like you're not meant to be productive all the time. So it's like I think my struggles, like sometimes I struggle to let myself be fully seen. That's something like my therapist and I are talking about. And so like no longer needing to like perform for acceptance or worth or anything like that. I think I'm getting to a place where I have a better kind of like balance on things. But like by saying that, it doesn't mean that I don't have opportunities to like work on things. I think part of the reason I'm struggling to answer this question, ironically enough, is like I don't view the struggles. Maybe it's because I'm taking struggles as like a negative connotation. Because I'm literally like, well, yeah, there's a bunch of stuff I have to work on, but like I get to work on it, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And so like to me, it's not like
The same way you put triggered, like it's a good thing.
it's like, oh, okay, like I haven't been doing that well. Like we kind of talked about, like I was like the last like 3 months, I like wasn't really showing up to my full capacity in like work and in other areas, but I'm not mad at myself for it because I needed it. And I haven't done that before. And so now I'm like, okay, great. What can I learn from this and what can I take away from it and how can I show up differently?
Great answer. Yeah, it's awesome.
I wanted to have a better answer for that. I
That's
wanted to have a
okay.
lot of struggles. Actually, maybe I struggle to like accept compliments, and I struggle to
okay.
like
That's a good one.
I want to be told what's wrong with me. Like what I can fix
Interesting.
all the time. I'm like, tell me where I can be better. It bothers me when people are like, no, you're doing a great job. And I'm like, okay.
Why?
Because I want to fix myself and I want to like make myself better. And so that's something I'm working on is like being more okay with like, this is like, it is okay that way.
Do you think you're much harder on yourself than you are on other people?
Do I think that? No, I know that. I know that 100%. Yeah, I'm pretty hard on myself.
Is that something you struggle with? Being hard on yourself?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There you go.
I like it. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to go through some overrated, underrated.
Ooh, okay.
Okay. I haven't done this on the podcast yet. I figured we could
Ooh.
go through
I feel so
a couple of different
special.
things and we're going to go, this is going to go back to fitness stuff. All right.
That's
So, overrated or underrated intuitive eating?
Am I only answering overrated,
No,
underrated?
you give backstory, you give nuance to it.
I think it is overrated.
Okay.
Because I think the direction it's gone online has very much misconstrued what it is. Like kind of what we said earlier, where it was like, yeah, if I wanted to intuitively eat, I would eat an entire bar of chocolate like in one sitting. So I think that it's the way that it's portrayed online is overrated. But I think it in proper life, which is just learning to eat to fuel your body appropriately, and understanding your hunger cues, having emotional regulation. Like there's more depth to it. I think that's underrated.
I like that. That's a good nuance here. That face. Wow.
Because I was like, I always go nuanced.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's why I like these long form conversations.
Yeah.
Also, when you were like, I would eat an entire bar of chocolate, that's the New Jersey. Like when you were like,
That's
I would
crazy.
eat an entire bar of chocolate.
Is that really like a New Jersey thing? I don't even
New
think my dad does that.
I mean, the way you did it, I was like New Jersey, like immediately.
When I was sick in high school, I watched all of Jersey Shore in one go, and so I think I just started like picking up a bunch of stuff.
That's funny. I feel like Jersey Shore is like only one. That's like one aspect of New Jersey. That's not all of New Jersey.
Everyone's like, that's not just Jersey. And I'm like,
at
that's
all.
Jersey, baby.
All right. Overrated or underrated? and I might give my thoughts on this as well after you. Protein.
We're gonna go nuance.
I love that you already had like the because that means it's not a simple answer.
It's not.
I love that. It's not.
Because I think for many people, it is still underrated because the standard American diet does not put an emphasis on protein. And so I think it is a macronutrient that a lot of people struggle with. I think it is wildly overrated in all of the protein donuts, protein coffee, protein like pancakes,
Pretzels,
like everything, protein popcorn, like that just came out. And I was like, it doesn't need to be in everything. It doesn't. You can get it from other sources, and that's fine. And also, I think that the hyperfixation on protein has also taken away from the need of other macronutrients. This isn't a macronutrient, but I'm going to say fiber, because I'm like, arguably, the priorities to me should be protein, fiber, and then overall calories. And obviously, yes, calories can be skewed because of a number of reasons. So understanding all macronutrients can be important, whatever. But I think that that's my take on it is protein is something that still deserves love. It still deserves attention. It still deserves to be a priority in your life. It is so important. Do I think it is the only important thing? No. Do I think it belongs in everything? Absolutely not. If you tell me to put cottage cheese in something, I'm going to smack you in the face.
You don't like cottage cheese?
I have a distaste for it.
Really?
It's a texture thing.
The palate, you don't like
yeah.
that?
But then also, like, they put it in everything.
Yeah, they do
People
put it in
are
everything.
like, just add it to your eggs. And I'm like, I'm just going to add more egg whites. Thank you. Which actually, I do think cottage cheese can be good in eggs. So I'll also like retract that at the same time. But like, I see people just put it in everything. And I'm like, not everything needs cottage cheese. Not everything needs cauliflower.
You know who loves cottage cheese is Ryan Cassim.
Does he really?
He literally wrote a recipe guide for the Inner Circle that's called How to Make Cottage Cheese Not Taste Like Shit. And it's just a whole bunch of his recipes that are like include cottage cheese that are amazing.
I feel like I actually knew that because I literally did propaganda I'm not falling for. And it was funny because I had people comment on it, like a lot of fitness coaches who were like, you're the first person who's actually done this like correct, except because I put cottage cheese on it. And I was like, I'm just a hater. Like, and I said that, like, I was like, y'all, I know that this isn't propaganda. I'm just being a hater when it comes to cottage cheese. Everything else is correct though.
I like that you're willing to say it even if you don't like it, and
I'm just
it's
a hater.
good. I mean, the cool thing is, I mean, there are so many great uses for it, and I love cottage cheese, and I've loved it before it was cool.
Okay.
To be honest, like I've loved it. For me, it was like I first got into the cottage cheese world in 2000. Must have been 2006 when I was like really starting to get into fitness and nutrition, and I was using it for wrestling, and I was like, this cottage cheese stuff, like it fills you up, super high protein, and now it's like it's the cool thing. But I will say, you know, food science is amazing and where it's gone. But like we're getting a lot of really great meals, like pre-prepared meals that you can even get in frozen food sections that use cottage cheese as a way to make them creamier, higher protein, lower calorie. So, but I just love when someone's willing to say something that isn't popular. So like, I love when you're just like, fuck cottage cheese. Like, I think that's great. I'm just being a hater. I love it. Yeah. I love it.
I'll be the first to say I'm a hater.
Okay. Overrated, underrated, the body positivity movement.
I literally saw Tony.
I called him out on it.
I know you did, and I actually didn't watch the full clip, if I'm being completely honest.
What the hell?
I don't remember why I didn't. Yeah, I don't remember why I didn't. So I don't even know what he said about it.
He said it's a scam.
I know he said it's a scam on his page.
Yeah.
Then he said it's here too.
Oh, no. And then he sort of pulled it back. He was like, scam was a little bit too harsh of a word. But also, like, I don't necessarily disagree with what he said whatsoever, especially the nuanced take.
I was going to say, so I think body positivity is overrated. I think body acceptance is underrated. Because I think that body positivity has skewed so far to say that basically like love your body no matter what, which is body acceptance, whereas body positivity has turned into love your body so much, even if you're unhealthy, even if you don't feel good, just be okay with it and be excited about it. When the reality is, to me, body acceptance is, yes, love your body as it is, and do things to make yourself feel your best. And again, like, it's so crazy to me how upset people will get that, like, they'll say that losing weight is like propaganda, or that like that's like you're now like shaming people because you're saying that like this is like potentially unhealthy, or having a goal around weight loss is shaming. And I'm like, why is everything shaming? Like, but it doesn't have to be. And I'm like, this is where I'm also like, no one said you have to do anything, but also like, are you truly happy with your quality of life at whatever, like whatever? Again, me saying size, what's crazy is people assume I mean like bigger. That could be smaller too. Are you happy
Exactly
with the
right.
quality of your life, however you are showing up in the world currently? If you are not, you can still love yourself who you are right now. And because you love yourself, like, you should be loving yourself to health. And so you can now focus on habits that would then make you feel better, which may inherently change your body composition.
I don't watch South Park. Do you watch South Park?
I've seen many of it. I can quote the song from it.
Okay, so I don't watch it. I don't watch The Simpsons. I've never watched any of that stuff.
This is
But
specific.
I do know, like, I've watched a little bit, and I know like some of these shows, they're almost prophetic in nature in terms of how they can see where culture is going, and
Yeah.
like really like absolute genius realistically. And I don't have anything against them. I just don't. I never got into it. Did you see the quote about body positivity on South Park recently?
No.
It was actually extraordinary. And when I say extraordinary, I mean it was
Like on point.
very. I don't even. It was poignant,
Okay.
and I want your take on it. They said, "Rich people get Ozempic, poor people get body positivity."
That's crazy. Wow, that's
Isn't
like
that wild?
diabolical. It's wild because they're not wrong.
They're
And
not wrong.
and I say that with a very full heart, because what sucks is GLP-1s, before they became so popularized, were a lot more accessible for people who actually needed them. And now that, because they've become so popularized, that's where the like thin is in again. Because a lot of people who had struggles with their relationship with food, or a lack of consistency around like training and everything else, like now they have access to like GLP-1s, and they can start to change things. And then now, because a lot of people who are more well off are more in the light, you see that and you want to be included in that. But then if you can't afford it, or you don't have accessibility to it, being told that like, well, it's okay, like you don't have to change who you are. Like, it's true. Like, people like, and again, I don't care if you change who you are. Like, you like, not okay, this is a different, I think slightly different tangent. Someone having an opinion on something doesn't mean you have to listen to it. And it doesn't have, like, if you take something as a personal attack, you have to ask yourself, why are you taking it that way? Even if somebody like looked at you and was like, you're fat, you need to lose weight, you can be like, you're a dick, I don't want to listen to you. And like, it could end there. But then I think like a lot of times people will say like, if you have body fat, you may want to, like, actually you literally just did that, where like one of the things that's worse for you than like
Seed oils,
seed
food
oils, all
dyes,
those things
yeah.
you said, is having excess body fat. And I can guarantee that people saw that and were upset by it. And the crazy thing is, it's not always a personal attack.
It's just a fact.
It's yeah, that's it. And this is where like I think I can have empathy and understanding for like, okay, it does suck that like you probably have less control over the situation, or you may have had less control over the situation than you realized, or you had less education. And so like, and that's what led to wherever you are now. Because again, like accessibility is something to consider, like education. There's so many components for why people gain and lose weight. And so just saying like people, like this is a whole other tangent of like being fat's a choice and like that whole argument. But like, you can have empathy, but then also, again, we go back to the accountability of like, okay, well now if you're uncomfortable with it, we can guide you in a direction for resources to potentially help with it. Because there are a lot of things that you can do that are more financially friendly, that are more time friendly. Like there's things that can be done. It does typically just need to be modified to you. So yeah, that's my tangent.
I like it.
Great. I was like, don't go too tangenty, Alex.
I just think it's, and going back to the South Park quote,
Crazy.
I just it really does go to Tony's point that it was a scam and people didn't actually believe in it, because so many of those people, as soon as something like a GLP-1 became accessible to them, they're like, oh, you know what? I am actually not happy like this.
Yeah.
You know? And I think it pointed to a major facade in the fitness industry.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, we're just going to say everything is okay. It's like, oh wait, now we have something that could help you.
Yeah.
Which is wonderful. Mm-hmm. But let's also recognize, like, there was a lot of vitriol that came out of that movement. Yeah. Like that 2017 to 2019 to 2020 era there was a lot of vitriol coming out of that movement. I think that quote was very poignant.
I think what a lot of people still don't realize is if everybody woke up and genuinely, like actually, loved what they saw in the mirror, billion, if not trillion-dollar industries would crumble. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of these industries rely on self-hate and creating narratives that you have to look, act, be a certain way to be accepted, be loved, be whatever. And we believe them. And then so we give into the fad diets. We give into the GLP-1s. We give into the body positivity movement. We give into whatever movement is convenient or is being pushed at us at that time. If you stop chasing those things, like if you're literally like, I like get rid of the head noise, and you're like, I just want to feel my best. Again, if everyone did that, billion, trillion-dollar industries would just crumble. Mm-hmm. Including like makeup industries.
I was literally going to say
beauty,
makeup,
everything.
Botox, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Fucking height surgeries.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's crazy that people
hair transplants. Yeah. All that stuff.
And I'm like, and again, I have no qualms if people want to do those things. I'm like, I love that for you. I'm clearly wearing makeup. Like, I don't hate those things. I think that, again, we've just gone so far where when it's no longer just like, I really enjoy, like, this makes me feel nice. Mm-hmm. It's, I will not love myself if I don't have it on. Mm-hmm. That's a whole different conversation.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's the gray area that a lot of people still don't understand with it. Mm-hmm. So I agree. I think there's a lot of scams out there.
At this point, I think most things that are for sale are scams.
I would agree.
Most things. Not everything.
Yeah.
It goes to the Pareto principle. Like, 80% of the results come from 20% of whatever it is. Like, 80% of fat loss is going to come from 20% of the foods. 80%, like the vast majority of your workout, 80% of a good workout comes from like 20% of the exercises in the world. It's like, it's the vast majority of things that you have access to you don't need. The vast majority of supplements, scam. Yeah. Very small percentage of supplements actually are worthwhile. Yeah. It's most things that are for sale, you don't need at all.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to do one more overrated, underrated. Then I have three final questions. Okay. Overrated, underrated, HIIT.
Oh, I think it's overrated. I like how quickly I said that one. I was like, that one came fast. As a former Orange Theory instructor, I think HIIT is done wrong for so many people. Like, people don't understand. Like, people think that like a 60-second sprint on the treadmill is like doing that circuit over and over and over again, like 20 bajillion times, is now HIIT. And I'm like, technically that's not HIIT. Mm-hmm. So I think high intensity interval training has been muddled in the water. Yeah. So I think it's wildly overrated. And also I'm like, why are you doing it?
That's the question.
Because also like most people don't need HIIT training, in my opinion. And I'm like, I think that I think there's movements or I shouldn't say need. I think a lot of people jump to it too early. They utilize it for the wrong reasons.
Yep.
And they think that it's going to give them a bigger return than it actually is. When typically it's usually going to lead to them probably getting hurt. Just again, because of where they are when they're starting it or how they jump into it. It's usually not done correctly. Like I have clients who still come to me and they're like, okay, I want shorter rest periods. They're like, my heart rate needs to stay up when it comes to like working out. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Like, you don't have to do that. And that's also not HIIT training. Like they'll say like, but I need to do more like HIIT. And I'm like, that's not HIIT. Like you taking shorter rest periods is not HIIT training. So that's my opinion on it.
I agree. I think the biggest question that people need to ask that you hit on was, why are you doing it? And most people want to do HIIT because they think that it's going to burn more calories and help them with fat loss. That's why. Yeah. They're like, I want to do HIIT because I think it, and not only because they think, but because they've been told that you burn way more calories from these high. And then not only that you burn more calories from doing it, but afterwards, it's that afterburn effect, right? And so they think, okay, this is what I need to do for fat loss. And I think HIIT can be very, very beneficial, but if you're doing it properly, once a week at most for a more intermediate to advanced trainee, to your point, the vast majority of people are not intermediate. Yeah. Especially in the United States, most people complete beginners. Yeah. And I think most people should focus less on HIIT and more on walking. Yeah. It's just you get way more bang for your buck, especially earlier on. If you're trying to get to a higher level once you're intermediate to advanced, yes, and if you want to improve your VO2 max, if you want to improve your athletic performance, great, it's fantastic. But going back to the Pareto principle, I mean, that should make up a couple percentage points of your training. It shouldn't make up double digits of your training. Absolutely not. Nowhere close. Yeah.
I think that people want to skip the basics.
Yes.
And I'm like, why? If you're not even doing the basics, why are you skipping them in the first place?
To that point, it's actually really interesting. So I just added some plyometric workouts to the inner circle, and I labeled them beginner, intermediate, and advanced. But I do a live Q&A every Monday with my inner circle, and I was like, listen, for some reason, when people see beginner, intermediate, advanced, everyone wants to go to advanced. Yeah. I was like, don't fucking do that. Yeah. And I said, I was like, if you haven't been consistently strength training for at least 6 months, you shouldn't be doing any of the plyometric workouts at all. Like, let's just get your strength up first. But then from there, if you haven't been doing high level jumping for a couple of years and you're trying to do this advanced workout, you're gonna fucking hurt yourself. Yeah. It's people, and I think a lot of it is because they think back to where they were when they were younger. Like I think of myself as like, oh yeah, like when I was in high school, I could do this, or even when I was an elite powerlifter, I could do this. It's like, all right, well, I need to temper it down a little bit because I'm not where I was on certain things. I'm better in some areas and worse in others. But it's when people see like the higher level, the more advanced, oh, I just want to do that because they think it's going to lead to better results. It's like, it's not going to lead to better results if you get injured. Yeah.
That, and then I also think, again, it is ego, where it's like, oh, I'm a beginner. And I'm like, cool, I'm a beginner. I'm learning something new. This is so exciting. And I'm like, maybe I'm sometimes the turtle where I'm like, I'm going to be a beginner. Like sometimes I'll be more of a beginner on something than I need to be. But I would rather master the basics and then be like, wow, I mastered the heck and bob out of that. And now I can like graduate. Then try to do something more advanced. I take that slightly back, where you do need to have like a level of discomfort in something that you're trying, but like don't do it to the point where it's now like diminishing returns. Yes. Because again, like then you're gonna hurt your ego because then you're not able to complete it or do it, or you're gonna hurt yourself.
3 more questions.
Okay.
When you look back on your fitness, not as a coach, but as someone who works out, and time and fitness, just time working out, what was your favorite time in your own training, in your own workouts? Like what was your favorite time period for you?
That's hard. So I'm going to answer this in kind of probably like a weird way, because I love how I'm training right now. And this is probably like the all or nothing mindset that I have, and like how when I do something, I'm just going to do what I'm passionate about. Like every time I've jumped from fitness thing to fitness thing, because like again, I did half marathons, and then I did powerlifting, and then I did bodybuilding, and then now I've kind of found this like middle ground. But like even in between, then I would do like group classes and stuff. I would just do things that I loved at the time. And like now I've found what I love most right now. And so I don't think I have a favorite. I'm going to say that like
Cool.
I've loved the fact that I've tried so many different things because it taught me things that I didn't like. It also taught me things that I do really like. And it showed me that I'm capable of a lot more than I think. But then it landed me to this kind of new, mostly hybrid-ish way. I definitely do more like kind of bro style bodybuilding in a sense still. But then I incorporate like the push-ups and pull-ups and things like that. So I guess technically speaking, I love where I'm at now.
Cool.
But I've always do more of what you love, people.
You know what's funny? Hearing you talk about superheroes, I would have imagined that you would do more, maybe like calisthenics, like doing more like crazy shit, like with body weight. But like you prefer more of the bro bodybuilding stuff. Why is that?
So I used to do stunts.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so I did do more like calisthenic stuff then.
Okay.
Because it was definitely needed and I needed more like mobility for it. I think part of it, this is going to sound so like ridiculous. I have this like fear of getting hurt.
Doesn't sound ridiculous at
Because
all.
I'm like, calisthenics can really hurt you.
Oh, yeah.
Like they're hard.
It's way more dangerous.
And so I think
objectively.
Yeah. So I'm very like when it comes to my body, I think because of like my autoimmune diseases and stuff like that, I try to be kind of like risk adverse.
Makes total sense.
Yeah. And so I think that's what it is. But that's where like I also like I do find the training that I do like challenging. So like even getting to like lift really heavy weights and things like that. That's where I'll kind of like gravitate towards that. And then also I can like put the ego in it a little bit of like the aesthetic appearance of like there's certain like anime characters that like I want to look like. And so I'm like, I want to look like a superhero. So I got to train. So the irony of like the calisthenics, yes, you can build muscle and stuff. You're probably going to build a little bit more muscle when you're doing.
It's not even close. Of course, you'll build more muscle with fucking heavy lifting.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
And
unless you're on steroids, in which case, which a lot of people don't disclose.
Understand, yeah.
But yeah, you will build more muscle with progressively overloading heavier weights.
So I want to more so look like a superhero.
Got it.
But then still do the pull-ups and have the superhero landing.
Because you are athletic.
Yeah.
Like even the way you drop down from the pull-up bar into your Superman or Spider-Man stance, like it's like you're very athletic. You can see it in the way you move. So I was expecting you to have more of like a athletic or hybrid style, whatever it is, but you prefer the bodybuilding stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's also like I think the weird thing of me being so athletic now is because I've done so many different things to get to this point.
Yeah.
I cannot do the splits. I will say that. Congratulations on that one.
Thank you.
I always tell this is also where you have to like recognize when you say you're going to do something and you just never do it.
Yeah.
I've said that for years. Like I said I'm going to get the splits. I never spend time doing it. And like realistically, you spend 2 to 5 minutes a day on it. You can get it in probably like, well, I don't know about the middle splits, but like side splits, you could probably get it in like, if I had to guess, probably 6 to 8 weeks. Like that would probably take me. Yeah.
I have to challenge you to do that. I have to challenge. Like that's wild.
I'll do it.
You promise?
I promise. So like today, I'm gonna
You have to take
market.
Pictures of where you are today.
I'm gonna put it on my story.
Okay.
And I'll start like doing because it's gonna hold me accountable to do it.
I like that.
I'm gonna say middle splits.
By middle splits,
sorry, not middle splits.
Front splits.
Front.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because middle splits, that's hard.
That's devastating.
Yeah. That's really hard, and
Okay.
especially like a full middle split.
Yeah.
Because people will say middle splits, and then they'll still like have like a couple inches off the ground.
Oh, I know.
Full true middle split. Because I did cheerleading in high school.
Okay, so you have that background. Could you used to be able to do it?
Yeah.
You used to be able to do the splits.
Not middle ever.
But front, you could do the front.
But I could do front.
Okay, so you already have that. Your brain has that background.
I didn't have the best. So this is an interesting, maybe like a slight side tangent again, where I was naturally, I've had abilities.
Okay.
But that made me really lazy. because
Yep.
I would naturally be pretty good at stuff.
Yep.
And so like I was naturally a really good flyer. I naturally had good flexibility.
Okay.
I played lacrosse and I was like naturally pretty good at it. I was a coxswain, which that one I'm just tiny, bossy, and loud. And so that's what like all that requires. And so that's all that is. And so I like
That's
was
actually
naturally
really funny.
That's what it is. If you don't know what a coxswain is, it's rowing. You're the person at the end of the boat who's just telling everyone what to
Yelling,
do.
yeah.
You still have to like run and do everything else. Like, because I did a advanced training with like Berkeley, and this makes it sound like I was really like athletic. I wasn't. I just like happened to do these like athletic endeavors and still failed PE. But like because of that, I lacked discipline. Because it became like really easy.
Makes
so it wasn't
total
until
sense.
firefighting that I like truly learned discipline. And like actually learned to like excel. So I've naturally had those abilities, probably like a huge part genetically. Like my mom runs, my dad is like rows and everything still to this day. So I just had it in my blood.
Got it. Okay,
But
cool.
yeah,
2 more questions.
go for it.
What are you scared of?
Spiders. No, I'm just kidding.
It's a valid fear.
Yeah, they freak me out. Actually, I like cockroaches a lot less, especially being in Texas. They're at least in Houston, they're everywhere. Those,
You like
big,
cockroaches?
sorry, like they scare me more than spiders.
Oh, okay, got it.
Literally,
got
one
it.
was in the house and I was like, and I just vacuumed them up. Because I'm like, I don't want to touch it. I tried to touch it with like a toilet paper, and I was like, this is not thick enough because it started moving, and I freaked out.
They got body armor.
But on a serious note, I'm terrified of failing. I'm willing to fail. Like that's the irony, right? Is like actually, this one I'm gonna steal from one of one of my exes said this back in 2016 or so. And like the moment he said that, I was like, wow, that hit home. Which was one of my biggest fears is leaving this world before I've made a big enough impact. And I think it's important to recognize like you're never going to help everybody. And like, what does that truly mean? And so I've refined that to now be like, I just want to show up with the most, I think that's probably part of the reason I'm so passionate about everything that I do is I just want to show up with intention. And so another quote that I say is, I try to be the least hypocritical person possible. I try. Doesn't mean I'm perfect, ever. But so I think that's one of my fears is like just not living with integrity and then also maybe not living up to my potential.
What are you excited about?
Like in life?
You get to decide.
Like everything. I think that I think I'm entering like a really new chapter of my life. And so I'm really excited for that because I think that like who knows what it's gonna bring. And I think I'm really excited to be on this podcast. This was like really cool. Like I said, I followed you forever. And so I was like, oh my gosh, you want me here? And so yeah, I'm excited for just like what's next.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Where can people follow you?
You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok. It's the Alex Allen on all platforms.
I'll put it in the show notes.
Thanks, guys. And then I'm going to start a YouTube later this year. And also
You don't have a YouTube yet. All right, you got to get the front splits and start a YouTube.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay. But also my podcast is coming back, which is Born to Thrive.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes.
I'm very glad to hear that. Thank you for coming on.
Of course. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Please go to the show notes. Make sure you follow Alex. She's incredible, as you can tell since you made it to the end of the podcast. Please leave a 5-star review on Spotify, iTunes. Give it a thumbs up on YouTube. Leave a comment. They help a lot. That's it. Have a wonderful week. Talk to you soon.